Welcome everyone to the late game, episode 60. My name is Lycan, and we are finally back. It's been a couple weeks. We had one show in there somewhere, but we are finally back. And with me, joining me as always, I have In Control and Destiny. How you guys been? Not all at once.
I've been great.
Jeff, good? Good.
Good, man. Keep busy.
Good. Nightwane is going to be our guest. He's from Team YP. For those who don't know, that is the team YouPorn. How you been, man?
I've been great. Thanks for asking. How about you?
Not bad, not bad. Even with everything going on, your spirits all right?
Yeah, it's all good. I mean, we just like to keep playing, you know.
Okay. All right. Well, we're not gonna dance around. We're just gonna get right into it, and we're gonna discuss ESL banning Team YP. Now, when you guys refer to yourself, I know it's branded as Team YP. There's really no mention of anything NSFW on the website. So, do you guys ever refer to yourselves as Team YouPorn, or is it always Team YP?
It's always Team YP. They actually discourage us mentioning the main branch.
Okay. Cool. So then we'll label this Team YP, and we will say Team YP throughout the segment. So what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to get his background. We're going to talk to him about everything that led up to the ESL ban, their sentiments about the ban and all that, and then we're going to kick him off because then we're going to talk shit about the ban and see, we're going to debate the ban. We don't want him here in the crossfire because he's just here to give us context. So real quick.
Am I allowed to ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll allow it.
Or just you might address this later on, but like I understand the goal to like label yourselves as YP and whatnot, but why not go with like a completely and totally different like thing at all? Like, do you know what I mean? Like instead of YP, like why not just have a completely different team name?
Well, I mean, they still want the initials and the reference to the main branch. Otherwise, there's no point to promote the team at all from the main branch. But they are thinking about rebranding and stuff.
Yeah, I read the article when it came out, and they said that Team YP offered to. I don't think it was something that they were wanting to do, but they offered to change their name completely to Team whatever, but not even have the initials in there, right?
Yeah, it was offered to ESL.
All right, yeah, I was just kind of curious because it seems like a lot of the kind of drama like goes back and forth between it, like trying to walk this line of like we're affiliated with YouPorn but we're not really YouPorn. Like there's like that kind of.
Yeah. So let's take a step back and let's talk about you and just Team YP first of all. Tell us who you are, what you play, and how you got associated with the team.
Right. So we started off as an Evolve team. So at the time we were one of the better teams on Evolve, and then we just basically got contacted by YP, and they offered us if we were interested to work with them.
Okay.
Well, game's pretty small and everything, so we weren't actually looking for sponsors at the time. So we were actually happy that somebody actually offered us something. So at first we were kind of skeptical, and we weren't sure if we want to associate ourselves with YP at the time. But we discussed everything. We asked the ESL admins, and we even asked from 2K if they're all right, and some friends what they think, and we decided that we're gonna, negotiate and work with them.
So for those who don't know, 2K is the publisher of Evolve, and so.
We're now in Rainbow Six instead, though, because, well, the game's way too small for us to stay in.
Okay.
Evolve is, right?
Yeah, Evolve. Now we're in Rainbow Six Siege and waiting for Overwatch. See how we do over there.
Nice. And you guys have been doing really well in Rainbow Six, right?
We're doing okay. Slow start at first, but now we're close to qualifying the Pro League, the Season 2.
And that's probably... So that brings us up to... First of all, ESL was involved in the discussion when you guys were with Evolve, or when you guys were playing Evolve. ESL was in the discussion of whether or not Team YP would be allowed to be involved in one of their tournaments.
Yeah, we asked them first because we were afraid about this thing, actually.
Okay. And so then you go to Rainbow Six. Now, do you think because it's a bigger game and you guys are getting close to qualifying, they were kind of like, maybe we should talk about this?
Yeah, maybe, but I think it's way more linked to the CS:GO team that got invited to LAN, and then I think that's where the concerns comes from instead of us.
Okay. So then you get the word, right? You get told, "Hey, you can't be associated with that and play in one of our tournaments." So first of all, let's give ESL a little bit of credit. If I'm not mistaken, they're still allowing you guys to play, right?
Yeah, so basically it's the team YP that's banned. The team itself isn't, as long as we follow their rules or follow what they say, we're still allowed to play.
Okay. And one of those things was removing anything Team YP from your website, right?
Yeah, basically we need to cut off all ties. Any links to them on the team page, it needs to be out.
Okay.
Didn't you correct me if I'm wrong, just to clarify, you guys didn't have any links already though to YouPorn on the page, did you? Or did you and I just didn't see them?
We did. We changed logos. We changed the name on the
Okay,
ESL
okay.
page. And
Well,
everything.
nothing to YouPorn, just the Team YP.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's what I was saying. On the Team YP page, you guys have never linked to YouPorn, have you?
No,
No.
no, no.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's just what I was clarifying.
Yeah. So now when you say the website, you're talking about your team website, not the UYP website, right?
Yeah. Team
Okay.
YP.
Hey, I have a question. So when you in the agreement, are you allowed to use Pornhub when you sign on to the team?
I don't.
Oh
I don't
my
think. I don't think they covered anything about their website, their main branch.
Do you ever feel guilty when you do?
Uh,
Do you
All
feel
right,
good?
let me drive this back here. It's early in the day to be drunk, my friend. But so Nightwane, a couple questions then, I guess. When this decision did come down, and obviously ESL has a very far-reaching impact on the game you're playing, in particular Rainbow Six. I mean, I think they run some events of their own, but ESL is one of the bigger ones. Did management or owners or whoever it is you report to ever say like, "Hey, we're thinking about pulling sponsorship," or has that been a consideration for you guys to separate yourself from the team? I mean, what incentive do you have to stay? Like, you guys are still there, so what are they telling you?
well, basically, when we reported to when we report back to YP about what ESL told us, they weren't very happy about it. So the question about keeping the sponsor, it has been questioned whether or not we should stay or not.
Yep.
But we have good relations to both ESL and YP, and we have only positive experience so far with YP as well. They're very nice guys. So for now, it's just a temporary thing, hopefully.
So
that we have
what,
to-
if you can share, like, I obviously can't get into finer details, but I think one of the big questions a lot of people have for this whole thing as well is like, why did YouPorn get into esports, especially since they're just such a gigantic, massive website. Sponsoring like a Rainbow Six or Evolve team is not going to reach millions and millions of people, right? And now they're being told by leagues like you can't link to their website. You have to be called YP, not YouPorn. So it's getting more and more tenuous as to why they would do that. Have they like? Can you give any insight on that at all? Like what they hope to do?
Well, that's out of my knowledge. But as far as I know, it started with a Twitter from the YouPorn Twitter. They asked if people think that they should sponsor an esports team, and then the response was overwhelming. As far as I know, that's how it started.
Really?
And then apart from that, I don't really know what their objective is.
Yeah, that was back in, I think, early 2015. YouPorn came out and said, hey, if we sponsor, it was something about a League of Legends team, I think. And then just everyone from every esport thought, look at all the money that YouPorn must have. And the communities were just like, yeah, no, sponsor this, sponsor that. And now we end up with, Dragon, these guys, two CSGO teams. There was a male and a female. I think the male left. They were the Russians. They still have a female CSGO team. And they still have a few other things. I think maybe some Smash, Mortal Kombat. I know Mortal Kombat for sure. I don't know about Smash. Yeah.
Smash still does as well.
They do? Okay. So, Steven, do you have any other questions?
Not really, no.
Okay. So, I guess moving forward, so you guys are going to still play in ESL. You're just not going to be in any way, shape, or form allowed to, say that
We're
you're
just not
associated.
YP on
Right.
ESL, basically.
Okay. So now from the team's perspective, going forward in the future, Jeff brought up, are you guys going to, are you guys going to stay with them or not? Can you just give me, I guess, an idea of the feeling within the team? You talk not just amongst yourselves, but also with the Team YP people. Like, they're obviously a little upset within this situation, but I mean, is it like a positive moving forward attitude? Like, we're going to fix this. We're still going to succeed. How do they feel?
Well, the first time it got announced and everything, everybody's like, oh my God, what are we gonna do then? Like, well, why are we even still playing then? Because we really like to, it's a part of our income as well and everything. So some people think that it may not worth their time anymore to play and stuff like that. But right now, we've talked to both parties and we still have hope, I guess, although not too much.
So one thing I do want to ask, because people like to talk about, it's YouPorn coming in, or sorry, YP coming in and supporting the esports scene, even though there are a lot of things growing like the League of Legends, CSGO, people still enjoy when people come in and put a lot of money into the scene. So I'm just curious, I'm not asking you to divulge your salary, but are they taking good care of you? Like, working with them, has it been enjoyable? Are they good as far as from a management perspective?
It's been really nice. The manager's really really fun person to work with as well. Anything that we need, we just say, and most of the time they do whatever they can to provide.
So no horrible, team drama.
No.
Yeah, okay.
No.
All right.
The atmosphere is really fun. There's lots of jokes everywhere. So.
Yeah, I guess you're not the guy that's
never
come
going
on
to hear otherwise.
Lots of YP jokes as well, if you know what I mean.
Awesome. Well, man, I want to say thank you for coming on. This is we got a few people watching. So is there anything you want to say either about ESL, 2 ESL, about your team, or just the situation in general while you have the platform?
Not sure what to say. I'm just, I just want to make sure that, to clarify my position, I'm neutral. I'm not really against ESL or YP or anything. We're just a team who wants to keep playing. YP is a really good organization, and ESL they have their reasons, but I don't really want to get into it. That's about it, really.
All right. Well, man, we want to say thank you for coming on. You can just go ahead and drop the call when you're ready, and we really appreciate it.
All right, no problem. It's nice meeting all of you guys.
Take it easy, man.
All right, see you guys later.
That was crazy good. That was super informative. He came on.
Very nice guy.
Said that he's neutral. Team's nice. Doesn't have an opinion on anything.
Well, all right. So here's the reality. I tried to get a YouPorn representative to come on and actually really talk about the team, talk about the situation, and they don't like putting faces on these kind of things. So this was the best we could get. Yeah.
Yeah, I have. I mean, we talked about this a couple times on the show, but I have so many goddamn questions about this. Like, it's a very interesting situation. Like, that's basically what I was trying to ask him. I was like, I've been involved with sponsorships. There is usually some kind of discussion where they're like, okay, here's what we expect from you. This is what we're going to give you this resources, and this is what we're excited about, and this is what we want in the future. But everything I've heard about this, and again, I'm not sitting in those meetings, so I was kind of hoping for more from this guy to say something, but it was just like, it's like, nope, they said nothing. I have no idea. And
well, I imagine
they're nice people.
I imagine for their first foray, it's probably right now is more of just like a testing the waters than anything else. Like, imagine if they would have dumped, like hundreds of thousands of dollars into doing all of this, and then the span would have come down, right? It would have been a lot worse than. Whereas right now they just kind of throw some money at a team, give them a manager, and kind of see what happens.
Oh yeah, I mean, I get that. I'm just saying, like, this is the first guy we've talked to from the organization, and just nothing. He's just got nothing to say at all. And Team YP, like the website, any of these press releases, they had a spokesperson in that article just kind of say, like, yeah, this is very disappointing. We're talking to him, trying to work it out. No real defense, no like, here's why we think it's okay, or like, here's why we're excited about gaming. None of that. Just nothing. Nothing across the board. Which, hey, to their own. I mean, that's fine. It's a gigantic website with millions of dollars, I'm sure. So, the chat, a lot of people are like, because they can. Sure, that's a valid reason if they want to get into gaming. And that's basically what that guy said. They tweeted it out and had a response, so they're doing it. they don't owe some mega big world scale plan. It is a little bit weird for such a big player to have nothing. There's no like clear message, and it feels like they're just kind of throwing money into the wind. But hey, that's their money, you know.
Yeah. So I'm curious about your thoughts. I know you and Steven had a little bit of a discussion on Twitter, but I'm curious what your thoughts are. You know, having we've had a little bit of time to process. I'll start with you, Jeff. Just on the ESL side of things. Obviously, ESL has to make business decisions, and some people have brought up the idea that, you know, if you've got this potentially negative thing that it involves itself with your brand, the best thing to do when you have 1 out of 16 things, that's the bad one, you cut it, and that's it. It's over. You don't have to deal with that association anymore, and you move on. You don't have to worry about teams not wanting to work with you. You don't have to worry about brands not wanting to work with you. But I'm curious, because I know you've worked this thing before. You've worked with ESL. What do you think their thoughts are on the matter?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the first thing I would just say. I haven't talked to anyone, so anything I say is just conjecture and speculation. I don't have no cool conversations or anything like that. I have no idea. So, for my opinion, just looking in, I get it. I can see why. Just because gaming right now is in that kind of weird gray area. Like, there's all this discussion and debate going around, like the gambling in CS:GO and stuff like that. The legality of that. How do you handle that? But mostly, everyone's just keeping their hands off because they're like, I don't want to be the first one to kick that hornet's nest. So I'm not going to go near it. People made this big to-do about Adderall and shit like that. That doesn't matter, right? Like, nobody cared about that. So there's just like these weird things circulating around gaming where they're like wanting to get really serious because they want to be on your ESPNs. They want to have big name brand sponsors that have all this red tape and all these things where they say you can't be doing such and such. So I feel like there's just that kind of angst circling around that. And this one, I'm always outright on the negative side when a league bans a sponsor. I think that's really fucked up in esports in general. But if a league was to ban a sponsor, I think the one I would understand the most would be one of the biggest porn websites, just because there's weird things at play. Like, in WCS, you have to be, I think it's 17 or 18 years old to play. But not all leagues are like that. Some, they have 15 and 16-year-old kids on there, which, again, those kids are jerking off, guys. Let's not be, that's fine. But they are still, like, close to their parents and their guardians, and the second they hear that, like, who are you facing tonight, honey? And they're like, oh, we're Team YP. And the father somehow knows what YP stands for, and he's like, who? And then that kind of creates problems and stuff like that. So I get it. I'm uncomfortable with the idea of a league saying you're not allowed to have that sponsor in our league. I think that's pretty damning. I felt bad. I felt like all these teams were just like, YP was going to be like, okay, esports experiment failed, we're out. And then all those people are like, all of a sudden that income's gone, and that's just world crashing. So I was going to feel terrible for them. That's my long-winded response.
So what about when G2A and stuff like that, when Riot said you can't have G2A on your, do you feel the same way about that as well?
And that's where it gets murky. And Sir Scoots, and Steven will speak for himself too, but I think Steven as well. That's where it got kind of hypocritical. I think is a pretty good word you can use there, because no, they're not porn, but I don't think anyone's going to look you in the eye and say G2A, Kingwin, and stuff like that is not a bad thing. Like, it very clearly is a gray market that benefits from stolen keys, and it devalues otherwise. Like, you're buying a South African gaming key for half the cost in North America, and that's just straight up money out of the pockets of the people that made that game. Like, that's, some games can take it. If it's Call of Duty 17, Future Warfare Modern, then that's fine for the most part. They're like, whatever the fuck, we made 30 million sales that night anyways. But if it's another game, an indie game, and that's how everyone buys it because they're like, I don't want to pay full price, just want to check it out, that's fucking terrible. Anyways, long story short, it does look bad because they are sponsored by them and they do accept money. And like, I think Riot banned them until, Steven knows the league scene better than me, but I thought it was something like they actually then sponsored or something like that, and then it became a little bit more okay, or are they just outright banned? Is G2A just gone?
I don't even know.
Well, then just swipe that. I'm sure someone's going to yell at me I'm an idiot. I don't know the scene, but I thought something like that had happened. But the bottom line is, when a league is okay with a bad sponsor because they get sponsored by him, they open themselves up to pretty legit criticism. Like, Sir Scoots put him on blast on Twitter immediately. And it's funny because if you boil the argument down, he's not against them banning YouPorn. He's against them not having a consistent message across the board, which isn't necessarily pertinent to the exact situation, but is a legitimate complaint against them as a company, ethically.
Right. All right, Steven, your thoughts?
I mean, I feel pretty much the same way. I can understand why somebody wouldn't want pornographic sponsors, especially if you're trying to grow and you're trying to get in new sponsors and money that has a whole bunch of restrictions. Like Coca-Cola's not going to want, Coca-Cola's probably not going to want, like, sponsored by Coke and YouPorn. Stuff like that is probably an association that they try to avoid. I personally, it really irks me that I really, really, really don't like gambling. And the fact that people are so keen and okay with gambling shit that it's taken over fucking CS:GO and tons of scenes. I must fucking get like at least 15 emails a month from people, not counting Twitch messages, looking to sponsor just because I played CS:GO, a little of my stream, looking to do these gambling sponsorships, and it seems like everybody has some kind of CS:GO gambling shit. It irks me a little bit that there's the banning of, I guess, the YouPorn there, and then like the much more destructive gambling shit is allowed. But
it's because it's an easy perception thing. Like, you think porn, immediate, porn bad, a lot of overly conservative people. Gambling, people are a little not so immediately triggered by that.
Yeah.
It's not that shocking though. Like the team is, I mean, if obviously getting away from the exact details, but just the idea, Team YouPorn, that's a massive website that most people know. If I say G2A to my parents or something like that, or Kingwin, they don't have any fucking idea. And then if I start to explain to them, it's where like illegal keys are sold, they're like, oh yeah, that's terrible. But it takes a second level or a third level of explanation for that to happen. Whereas if you just say YouPorn, most people know. If they don't know of the website, it's in the fucking name, YouPorn. Like,
Yeah.
they have an idea, right? And this is where, Steven's point, which I was more arguing where it was applicable, but his point I do agree with. There is in America, but even just in like Western culture, there is an angst towards associating with porn, with pornography.
No, that's an American thing. That's a very, very American thing.
I forgot
less so in
Steven's a
Western
European scholar.
we can pull the
He
Europeans
lived in
chat.
Poland.
That's a
He lived in
much,
Poland
much,
for
much-
3 months.
No, but regardless, that's a very that's a very, very, very American thing to be super, super dead set against everything having to do with porn, but like be super okay with everything having to do with like very violent things. I mean, if there are Europeans in the chat that want to chime in, that's fine. But from everybody that I've ever talked to and from the
I don't disagree that they're more sensitive to it. It's just you're making this weird argument that it's like strictly American, and I think that's like a very short-sighted response to that.
I could be wrong, but I think that if it was only all Europeans involved in this, I don't feel like this ban would have come down. I could be wrong on that, but I feel pretty strongly about that.
And that's where we had our argument, like, and to be specific, like, Steven, I think are you big enough to admit that you didn't know ESL was owned by Europe, and then you changed your argument to, well, then they were...
I didn't change my argument at all. The original thing that I said on Twitter, I have no idea why you got so hung up on this. The original thing I said on Twitter was like, this is American morality at its finest, where you're okay with things like gambling, violence, blah, 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 but as soon as porn comes out, oh my God, that's not a thing. The fact that it's a European company doing it has nothing to do with anything. Like,
you don't think so?
No, not at all. No, this is American morality. It's a very American thing.
But isn't that kind of like it's interesting, though, that a company that's European owned, you immediately assume is just American morality. And then you're like, your standard for how that's true was just, it is. You said morality is often defined as like, or what was the word you used for that? I can't remember. But then you said Blizzard is one of the key partners. They probably pressured them into this.
I'm pretty sure that I said in 2 tweets, I said, like, it's possible that Blizzard or somebody else pressured them into it. And then after that, I said, even if they didn't, it's irrelevant. You can still use the term American morality talking about a European company only if they advertise to a European audience. It can still be like an American kind of thing.
But I guess that's what I was interested about that, because it's like, why did you make it about this? You have this gripe apparently that it's strictly American morality that is against porn.
Because it's a thing that because it's a huge American issue. Sex and sexuality and boobies and whether women should be allowed to be topless and all that. These are like very hot, like American issues, like right now.
But most of these teams not only have no affiliation with Blizzard outside of Dragon, I guess, by the way, and if we need to say it, I'll just go ahead and say it. Blizzard has no fucking idea that Dragon is sponsored by YouPorn. And all these teams are actually European. I believe that at least the female CSGO team might be French-Canadian, but I think they're European too. It's a European company, but you're going to come in with no evidence. Hang on, Steven. Don't. Hang on. Just let me finish, all right? But you're going to say, like, despite all this European stuff, you're like, Blizzard probably pressured them, which they probably did not.
Original tweet wasn't about Blizzard pressuring. I don't know why you keep going back to that. I brought that up.
Keep going back to it because you said it.
I brought it up as a side point, and I said that that's irrelevant. And the next tweet, I literally said, even if Blizzard didn't, it doesn't matter. It doesn't change your
hey, Steven, you used an example, and then you yourself say it's a bad example, but I'm not allowed to talk about it? Is that what you're saying?
Let me find the exact tweets. Hold on.
All right, real quick, hold on. Just while he's doing that, what I think.
Let me use a couple bad examples, and then when Steven uses it against my argument, I'm going to flip out at him because they're bad examples. Like that, the logic there is spinning in my head.
Maybe where he was going.
The literal
with it
next tweet I said after that, where I said something about Blizzard may have pressured ESL, I said even if they didn't, it's still very much American morality to get so uptight about pornographic stuff.
The only reason we're locked up on this is because you keep shouting me down for bringing up Blizzard, but you yourself shouted yourself down. So I'm sorry, it's confusing for people who don't argue against themselves.
I think that it's like really obvious for anybody that follows it along or follows any kind of like political trends of Europe and America that sexuality is a very, very hot bucket.
I agree, but not exclusive. That's my point that you don't seem to get. I agree that they're overly sensitive about it, but you're like, it's American, and I'm like, Europeans are kind of sensitive about it too. You're like, no, it's just America. It's like, well, then I disagree.
Okay. I mean, it pretty much is though.
All right, guys, cool. Thank you.
No, I feel like we can bring some Europeans into the audience. Like when you start talking, like if you had an audience of people, okay, and you watch a movie on like fucking NBC, like or a film, like or a TV show that's like on prime time NBC, and you see a guy getting his face slammed into like a stove and melted off or whatever, but there can't be a single boobie, or else the audience would be like, "This is crazy. My 9-year-old can't watch this now that a boobie's on the screen." That audience would be filled with 99% Americans. Right? That it's a very American thing where it's like, oh God, a boobie, that's totally fucked up, and we can't. But the violence and all that is totally fine, and anything else is fine. That's a very American idea. So when a company is sponsoring games, and these games can be kind of violent, you've got shooting and killing, and they've got gambling sponsors, all this shit going on, and then a pornographic sponsor steps in and they ban that, and they're like, that's not okay. My original comment, the one that I still stuck by, was that's pretty much American morality at its finest. And I still stand by that comment, that's a very American morality kind of approach to things. Even if it's a European company that does it, even if there are European players and European teams and European viewers or whatever, it's an American kind of thought. That's it. That's what I got.
So the reason why there's any kind of reticence and pushback against this, like we actually agree on most of this. I do think that America specifically is very sensitive about sexuality. It's ridiculous. You can see 15 people get disemboweled in a movie before there's one sex scene. And that sex scene is the one that they'll talk about in terms of rating it R or like NC-17, etc. My point is that I found it very out of place and strange that when a European company, and just let me finish, I know this, you already vehemently disagree with what I'm about to say, but a European company with European teams from a sponsor that is based outside of America, but is about porn, specifically porn, not just sexuality. It's not about a boobie. It's about fucking transvestites pile driving midgets in the face with their dick. Like it's porn. It's a big porn website. And to come in and the first thing you say is that's American morality at its finest, and then you back it up. And I know you later disagree with yourself, but hang on, you're still kind of beholden to this. Then you say, well, Blizzard probably pressured them into it, and you actually made this argument too, but you're not voicing it right now, which is, I think, at least in part because you're admitting that this is a fucking terrible argument, but you're like, American morality is infectious. And the reason why I have a tough time with that is because we're taking all blame and responsibility away from everyone else, and we're just like, because America doesn't like porn, Europeans can't make up their own mind and acquiesce to American morality because they don't have their own morality. They just absorb American morality. That's a weird statement to really argue for.
That's not very weird at all. Cultures have bled all across the entire world. It's the whole point of globalization of the past 2 or 3 decades. I don't think that's a very weird statement at all. American culture.
No, we're not arguing that. I'm not saying globalization doesn't happen. I'm saying
no, but
that
American
you're saying
culture
it's absolutely
is very
100%.
infectious. I don't know if it's the literal tweet says, I don't know if it's reaching to say Blizzard pressured them a bit after saying WCS rulebook explicitly bars pornographic sponsors. I think that's a fair statement. I didn't say like what?
That was one of them, yes. There was another one where you said American morality is infectious, which
that's true. American entertainment and culture bleeds over to the rest of the world. Like American
I
thoughts and
agree.
American views on
Steven,
things are.
it's weird arguing with you because you're smarter than the words you voice. Like, I agree
Okay.
with you. You're not making a point to me that
Okay, you went there.
globalization doesn't
I don't know.
occur.
I don't even know what point you're arguing, but you won it. Is that what you want to hear? You got
Well,
it.
I'm
dude.
about to explain it. Hang on there.
Okay,
You're interrupting
alright.
me. You're using the Thorin tact again, and as I understand it, that's not a very
Sorry,
good
let me.
tactic to use.
My hijab is secure, and I'm. All right, go ahead.
We agree on a lot of this, like I was saying. Globalization, yes. American morality being infectious, yes. But my entire point isn't that it's not infectious. I'm not going for a zero-sum game here. My argument is that it's actually the opposite. I'm hearing that because you're making the standpoint that American morality is infectious, that is causality for them not having their own morality, but just rather mirroring American morality. Now, you can tell me that that's not what you're communicating.
No,
That would
that's
be a valid
exactly
argument.
when I said that it's not reaching. What I meant to tweet was Blizzard 100% in a causal link pressured ESL with their evil American values to get rid of these sponsors. That's exactly, I think. I must have deleted that tweet, but I think that's exactly what my point was. So, yes, I agree. But
I was sarcastic, but if that's
I'm not there.
okay. Well, I mean we distilled it. We got our arguments down
Yep.
to it. And
We
we don't
agree.
have any proof or anything. I was just saying, I'm always going to be of the more, well, not always. It's a 100% word. I'm going to try to push for, like, even if American globalization impacted the way Europeans view porn, I'm never comfortable with the argument that, like, well, America's to be blamed for a European decision because they like our TV shows. Like, that seems kind of weird. There should be some responsibility with Europeans, right? Like an ESL company should be like, well, actually, it was our decision, and maybe we're influenced by Blizzard or America, but we also are our own people, right?
Yeah.
All right, guys. That was some riveting discussion. I tell you what, I thought we were getting off tame. Like,
Nope, we got it. We're on track, on topic.
yeah.
People are funny. It's okay to argue. It's okay to have debates. Like, there's some people get so uncomfortable with it. It's interesting. And I'm not saying you, Steven. It's more the chat and even liking a little bit there. It's like,
Well, I think
Steve and I aren't going to yell at each other and hate each other. We're having a spirited debate. It's fine.
yeah. I don't know. One day I have PTSD from certain people quitting the show in the middle of it. I just wait for.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
All right. So good discussion, guys. Though I think that it's interesting just to see it because it's kind of conflicting. One hand, you want to say, oh yeah, obvious good business decision. You don't want to be associated with porn, whatever. At the same time, yeah, here's the other thing I've always considered, and some people disagree, especially certain people that during the Gamergate thing, but I usually look at the esports community as relatively progressive and accepting of a lot of different things. And I would think that if there's everyone's always talking about esports going into the mainstream, and we're not conventional sports, we're not this, not that. But then they have an opportunity to be a little more accepting. Porn does a very good job. Team YP has never ever had an NSFW link on their website. They've never advertise the porn website. Obviously, you get it because the name is Team YouPorn and all that. But they've come into this industry very professionally, very clean.
Can't they not though? I don't know if we can give them so much credit. Like, isn't it? I don't know what law I'd be breaking, but if you literally just link to straight porn or a porn website, I don't even know if it's American law or whatever who the fuck jurisdiction it would be, but isn't most organizations just like, no, you can't. You just flat out can't.
You mean on a website?
No. Like, and I'm not asking if there's porn on the internet. Thank you, though. I'm asking if a team that then has to take that page to ESL leagues, to DreamHack leagues. I feel like you can't have porn on that website. It's like in their laws.
I don't know. I'm not familiar with that, but I guess my thought with that though is that coming into it though, let's say that those laws don't exist because again I'm not familiar with it. And if Steven, are you?
Nope.
Okay. So with that, they come into it very professionally. If any institution was going to give them a chance, it would be esports, I think. The esports would be the more open-minded one saying, we're not going to lock ourselves down to, everything that's nice, clean, and whatever. We'll give them a chance because we're not like conventional sports. We're not conventional media. But it seems that the more it becomes mainstream, the more these business opportunities are there. Is this what we're going to see from them? People kind of closing down and going forward the way that they think they should be going forward instead of the way they want to go forward. But that's just curiosity.
Basically, what happens is you're getting a dilution of what your core beliefs were. So the reason why gamers and whatever are more progressive and more accepting, et cetera, has nothing to do with the fact that they're gamers. It's because it's a younger audience. Younger audiences, younger people in general tend to be, without extenuating circumstances, tend to be more progressive than older people, right? You see that reflected in politics. You see that reflected in morals. You see that reflected in drug use choice, like in everything, and the type of media that somebody entertains. With all of that being said, when gaming starts, of course, you're going to have an ultra-progressive community compared to the norm, right? You're going to have people that are, okay with porn, okay with marijuana, okay with whatever, all this stuff. But as you become more mainstream and you try to pick up, right, the definition of going mainstream is trying to pick up an audience that's not necessarily your core audience, right? You have a core audience and you want to expand that audience. So you're going mainstream, right? You're trying to get a more general audience. So a bit of that ultra progressiveness or whatever has to be lost for you to appeal to more people. So that's what you're seeing happening in esports pretty much, right? Is you've gotten this core group of gamer people that have these core beliefs, and as you try to expand your audience, you have to shed some of those in order to accumulate more people, right, into your fandom or whatever, is essentially what's happening, I think.
Okay. I think that sums it up pretty nicely. So let's go ahead and move on.
For this specific example, right? It's pornography is something that's pretty well accepted by younger people, not very well accepted by older people. And as you move out, main sponsors and all that shit, older people, younger people clash, and you have to lose the porn shit, maintain the mainstream appeal, right?
All right. It's good shit. Bye, Felicia.
That guy got wrecked so fucking hard.
Got wrecked.
Easiest day of my life. Go ahead.
Noob? Oh, that guy looks like. Oh, never mind. Okay.
So we didn't have. Man, yeah, he deserved that. So we didn't get a chance to discuss this. The show was gone, so we're going to go back to it. Jeff, if you wouldn't mind, I want to talk about the WCS win trading. So if you could you summarize for everyone, refresh us?
Yeah, like I didn't get too far into the specifics. I guess the arguments that some of the people. Well, okay, so the overall story is it's very disturbing that Marine Lord was essentially caught win trading. He kind of came out and said, yeah, I was not super severe, but it did happen a couple of times. I'm losing passion for the game. I don't know if I'm going to play that much anymore, which was like the really sad part to hear, but also that he just absolutely did not need to do that whatsoever. He was very securely near the top and one of the absolute best. And he's one of the biggest name players in the foreign scene, so that was really bad. There's a couple other guys that got it as well. One guy, who was it that was arguing really hard against this? You guys remember? Who were the ones that were banned?
Major.
It was Major. Major was talking about how he, and I thought Steven brought up really good points on this, but the best one essentially being that it's constantly Major that's at the center of these issues, and at what point do you stop and wonder, like, are you just that unlucky, or maybe are you doing things that are actually bad? But basically his argument was he was in a few games in the last couple hours of the online qualifier, and he got sick and felt sick, so instead of finishing the games, he just left them. And he did that, I guess, like 3 times.
Did it end up being more after the official review came out?
I thought it was. That was a couple, yeah. It was like 2 or 3.
Okay.
I don't have the numbers like right in front of me, so someone can shout at me if they want.
I don't know if there was more games, but I
more
remember
than one.
Yeah, they said that the chat logs were really incriminating. But yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know there was chat logs. All I know is that he literally left games. And Major, say what you want about him. He's one of the more talented people on our foreign scene, but he's actually an idiot. He's like a
God.
When he talks about subjects and when he actually when he gets mad at someone over something, it's very hard to listen to it with a straight face.
Like the Muslim incident where he feared for his life.
There's a lot of examples.
It's not that Major's an idiot. It's just he's very, very, very immature. Incredibly immature. It seems like he's just so immature.
That's more fair. An idiot's obviously not a objective statement to make, but yes, he's very immature. I've been playing with him since Brood War, guys, by the way, so I'm not saying this is some kind of weird outsider. I've had more interactions with him than anyone here. That thing happened, and actually it was kind of funny because I was with Kim Fan that weekend, Emerald City Comic Con. She was there for the Heroes of the Dorm thing. So Major, he felt really upset about this, obviously, because this prevented him from going to Copa America, which is like his monthly $5,000 check or whatever it was that he was collecting, like pretty fucking decent money. He's obviously in bad standing with Blizzard, so he was removed from that, where he was an overwhelming favorite to at least place in the money, if not win the damn thing. One of the managers gave Major No. This is what it was. The email that Kim Fan sent out for like qualifiers has her phone number in the email header. So he called her at 4 a.m. the day after she got home
Oh, fuck.
and just started yelling at her without introducing himself at all. And she's like, "Hi, like, who is this?" And he's like, "It's Major." Anyway, so like, I can't fucking believe you guys didn't email me about this. And needless to say, it didn't go very well for him because that's not the way to get results at all. But Blizzard, being the fair people they were, they kind of passed it off to someone else to look into, and apparently they did their homework. Like they really looked into this to make sure it was legitimate. There were people, and Petit Drogo kind of rightfully so was complaining that there should have been more transparency with this. I don't disagree with that. I think that's true. But, and this is a part where I can absolutely see people will disagree with me, but I've actually been of the mind that Blizzard should be more vigilant with this kind of shit in the past. Like, there's been way too many fucking hackers and cheaters, which Major is not, but, well, cheater, yes, but hacker, no. People that were, like, ruining qualifiers and being around the game, and Blizzard's just like, well, we just don't have enough gosh darn proof, when everybody knows what's going on. We're all like, hey, that guy's fucking dirty, and they're like, we're almost there, guys. If we can just get him to admit it himself and we screenshot it, then we can do something. It's really hard to get punished by Blizzard, so the fact that these people did, and all of them except for Major came forward and was like, yeah, I'm guilty, it's a pretty damning picture.
What about the fact that they took action right away? That they didn't have enough to apparently tell everyone what they had, but they had enough to take action. I mean, do you think they should have finalized an investigation?
From the statement that they gave, it sounded like they made it sound like they had very incriminating chat logs of what Major.
Well, no, that was the follow-up one. The first one they didn't. They had nothing. They just said.
Are you sure they did it? They initially
on the first one.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But they might have just said like, this is suspected. Well, they had all the information. Well, they were still preparing a final statement, right?
No. They said ongoing investigation, and they said nothing about the chat logs. That was all from the second notification, and that was my issue with it. It wasn't, oh, hey, Blizzard's taking action. Why are they doing this? I was excited about that. It was, they said ongoing investigation, and is it just because the next day is the fucking, the tournament? Like, what is it exactly?
Like I said, I feel like they had the chat logs. They probably had almost everything. They wouldn't just like ban him because like, oh my god, like we saw in Major's match history, he left 3 games. Like, I'm willing to bet that they had seen the chat logs and shit. So then at that point, they're not going to say we guarantee we know this for sure. Major is cheating. They probably said there's an ongoing investigation. Well, they went through it and they made sure that everything was correct that they gathered, and then I seriously doubt they just removed him on a whim.
Okay.
Pending investigation.
I mean, on a whim, no, but I'd like to know what degree of evidence they had against him before they made a move, because they did say then in their follow-up to the follow-up, they said in the future we are going to complete an investigation before we actually take action. So I don't know if that was just addressing the people, and they actually.
Let's say it's the worst possible scenario, and that is that Major literally was sick. He literally did decide to queue up 2 or 3 games and leave them early against people that were feverishly trying to qualify for the online qualifier, and that's because Major's barcode was up there in the top 16 because he's that good of a player. On Europe from Mexico, by the way, which he's like playing in the Matrix. I have no idea how he's fucking doing that. Let's say it is that scenario and he's just that unlucky. In my opinion, I'm sorry, too fucking bad. Like, otherwise, there's no way to catch anyone in online gaming in that scenario. Like, Marine Lord goes, yeah, sorry, I started throwing up corn on the cob in those 3 games where I left 15 seconds into it against my opponent, who happens to be French and my friend and also trying to qualify. Oh, okay. I'm sorry you feel get well soon. See you in the qualifier. Like, yeah, I guess the stars aligned and everyone's. It's really bad luck for Major. I'm sorry, but that's where Steven's argument, which I'm going to piggyback on, it comes in. That's where it also becomes a bit of a character thing. Like, he's literally been involved in a lot of these problems. He's just. At some point, you have to stop being like, wow, big old mean Blizzard removing a Mexican from a qualifier. Like, no, it's a guy that's been at the center of drama since 2011 in Starcraft 2. Like, it's been for a long time.
It's crazy to think what kind of potential that guy has, that it's been wasted just by not showing up, not caring.
If Major was training in Korea, he would probably be, I want to say the best foreign Terran, but I can't really say that. But he would be in the running for it. If you were to talk about the best foreign Terran, he would always be in the discussion easily.
Even
just
now
because
he's in
of
the
how
discussion.
horrible.
Even without
yeah,
it, he is.
yeah, just because how horrible his training regimen is, how horrible everything bouncing with the teams, and how unstable his life is, he still manages to be as good as he is. Like, if he would have been in a
Yep.
solid, stable training environment, he would he would be probably the best foreign Terran.
And he did live in Korea for a while. That's part of the reason why he's as good as he is. But
But he was like, did he live in Korea in Brood War days? I don't remember.
no,
He
not
did?
for
Okay.
Starcraft too.
No, but okay. He was one of like 3 foreigners that got to A+ legitimately on IC Cup, wasn't he? Major?
I'm
It
sure.
was like Major, Noni, and Idra.
Yeah, he was fucking amazing in Brood War.
So yeah, so even before Korea, like he was a really fucking good player. But
I just barely beat him to win a Pan American tournament myself. Right here, just barely.
And then also really important, what Jess said earlier is a million times true as well. Like, even if that did happen, I mean, man, it sounds really mean to say, I guess, to kids, but like part of being an adult is like you have to learn when you're going to go to the bathroom, when you're feeling sick. Like, these are just things that you have to like figure out. Like, if you're like in an important business meeting or doing something like really important to your life, and you were like, hold on, I really got to pee, like in the middle of it, like everybody's going to look at you. Would you have like a medical card or something that says that you have these issues that come up, like you couldn't take care of this before? Like, if you're really fucking sick, it like Major would have actually, even being Major, might have had an okay argument if it happened one time, right? You're playing a game and maybe something comes up, you ate something bad, it's like, oh god, I'm fucked, and you throw up. But 3 times, come on, dog. Like, nah, at that point, like,
I'd like
you're
to see the
maliciousness.
logs.
It's either you're either so malicious that you're obviously win trading, or you're so insanely incompetent that like, why the fuck would? What if we go ahead and let this stand or whatever, or say somebody like Major does this and because of that, like they end up qualifying in or something? Are you gonna skip out on a tournament because you're feeling sick? Because guess what? Major already did that to Total Biscuit's Shoutcraft. And his excuse was literally, I had a really bad headache and I was in a LAN and I didn't want to play. Like, come on, dude. This is your fucking job. This is what you're supposed to be a professional at. Like, come on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's where I hope Blizzard comes away from this saying that, yeah, they should be more transparent. But also, I want them to be, I want them to feel good about this. Like, the online qualifiers have been above and beyond positive. Everyone's fucking loved them. The pro gamers hit Twitter and they're just like, this is awesome. It was the best training I've had in months. I've never felt so motivated. Like, it's really good. But there's going to be cheating every single time. Every time. It's always been that way. It always will be. That's just the nature of it. And if we're like making Blizzard more gun shy than they already are, guys, I'll be in the top fucking 5. I'll have 106 record and 3 losses. It'll all be against 3 people, you know, and it'll be like, wow, Jeff, you really turned it on. I'll be like, yes, I did. How much is it? $5,000? Yes, I'll take that. Thank you very much. It'd be terrible. You have to be on top of this. So, and you know, I hope Major learns too. That's kind of the thing that goes on here, because I agree with everything everyone's saying. He's like one of the absolute best players we have to offer. It's just been kind of a circus of jokes. Like, every time these things come around, he's like, yeah, I was sick, so I left 3 games. Oh my god. Cameron.
Yeah, I'd like to see the logs. I'd like to see what they said, and if it was, because I want to see the verbiage that he used that made Blizzard say, ah, yes, he did this. Like, could he have been joking? Like, you remember that guy who got banned last year, where he was like, take $1,000.
Maybe he just said a joke and then left 3 games while in the top 16. Like, there's so, like, you're talking like.
Well, wait, was it? Well, hold on. So. All right, you know what? I'm just theorizing, all right? But was it the same guy he kept leaving against? Was it the same dude, or was it different people?
Even if it wasn't.
If it was the same dude, I could say, like, you know what? Here's a few more points, haha, click. But really he's thinking, oh, fuck, man, I got to take a shit. Oh, I just wanted to play one more game, and I don't want to play a Terran. Fuck. You know, he's like this. He's like, here's some more points for you.
Yeah.
But, like, the problem is, like, when we're, like, it's not, and again, I got really fucking mad in the thread because some people are saying this. It's not just ladder at this point. These aren't just ladder. If this was just ranked games, who the fuck cares? These are games that are qualifying you to fucking WCS and paying out actual money. So these aren't just ladder games. So, like, here would be my if I was a professional gamer, right, which I'm not, I stream, but this would be like my litmus test. Is this something that you would do if you had like a main stage game, or you had a stage game to play, or even just any game to play at like an MLG tournament? Would you do it? And if the answer is no, then don't fucking do it for an online qualifier. Would you skip a game because you want to go poop, or because you're kind of hungry and you want to go eat? Would you like leave an MLG game and just say, fuck it, I'm going to forfeit my spot on the Omer bracket? If you wouldn't do it, then don't do it here.
It's logical. I had nothing else. Yep. Jeff, any final thoughts?
No, I feel bad because it there's a few guys that fucked up here. It's actually kind of a silly life lesson. Like, Marine Lord flat out when he was caught was like, "Yep, I'm sorry, that was really bad and stupid. I'm struggling." And now we're not talking about Marine Lord, and we all kind of understand. And if he comes back, that'll probably hang over his head a little bit, but it's fine. And then there's Major, who has these like magical excuses and like, this is what happened, and I know it sounds really impossible, but that's what happened, and it just keeps being that way. And then it keeps getting debated, and he has this kind of bad image about him. And there's a life lesson to be had here, guys. And it's a pretty funny show because actually, I'll just even point the finger at myself. There's been many a time in the past where I've been like, I've said and done stupid shit, and then if you fight it and argue it and deny it and say that it's everyone else's fault but your own, guess what? That shit sticks around, and it's really hard to get rid of, and it looks bad. It's so easy. It's so much easier just to owe up to your shit and be like, yeah, I did it. I'm sorry. That was fucked up, and then move on.
I just got into an argument a while ago about some guy. It had to do with some tournaments banning a sponsor, and we were talking about American morality. I'm done.
All right, let's turn to a really shitty topic. It's something that a lot of people don't like to talk about, but it's been discussed. I have come to associate Wax Angel's face with bad fucking news about the Korean scene, because that's usually where it comes from when we find out something. And we got a lot of insight. There was a lot of updates on the life situation and some of the other folks. And so I want to talk about first the amount of money that these people were getting paid to throw matches. So we're gonna go back to match fixing in Korea. I saw someone make a comment, and then someone responded, and I thought it was a very nice, concise way to put it. Have you ever been offered $60,000 to tell one lie?
It wasn't 60,000. It was 60,000 Korean bucks, I thought, and then it was like it translates to $20,000, wasn't it?
No, I think it's 35,000.
I think it was 60,000 USD, wasn't it?
Really?
Yeah, it's 50,000.
It was 60,000. If it was 60,000,
50 million
Korean
won.
things.
Hold on, let's won to Korean won to USD, and it was 50 million Korean won. So 43,925. So
okay.
Have you
More
been
than I
offered?
thought. Still a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, I think this is an interesting debate and discussion to have, because I think the easy answer for everyone is they would say absolutely not, or if they're being really honest, that I think that's the more interesting answer. It'd be really tough, especially Huck was talking about it too. It's like it's a dog eat dog world in Korea. It's very rough over there, and that is, I guess, the just flat. There like literally is a flat rate for throwing the match, because I guess that's what like all of them accepted. It wasn't just life; it was a few guys. That's a tough call, man. That's a fucking, for those Korean players, that might be a year's salary for them, depending on what team they're on, if not more. For life, I don't think it was, but for a couple of those guys, it might be even twice what they're paid in the year.
I think it's a little bizarre that Life did it, because Life still has a future in Starcraft, and like he can still make money playing. Usually those kinds of match fixing things happen with B teamers or people that aren't quite at the top because they can't make the money any other way. I thought it was really bizarre to see Life get caught up in this.
That's where the big ones are. I mean, Savior, he's probably the most famous match fixer in Starcraft, and he was. I mean, at the time, he was so dominant, he was playing other races just to kind of have fun and make it interesting. Like, he was that fucking good.
Well, but to be fair, Savior didn't actually match fix, right? I thought he arranged it.
I believe he match fixed. Yeah, there's finals where he was throwing them.
Okay. I thought that he was just in charge of, like, arranging it all, that he wasn't actually the one throwing the matches. I could be wrong on that, though.
I think he did both. I think you're right. You're right, though. I think he actually did approach other people and ask them about it, and that's why he got, like, the biggest of punishments. Like, he's like smote from the world of gaming, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's a sad subject, because like you said in that summary, it's an interesting question. If someone were to come to me and were to be like, "Hey Jeff, notice you're playing that that online caster cup or whatever that we finally organized. If you throw that match against Rotterdam, I'll give you $60,000." Obviously, it's not the same because it's not the actual top-notch competition, which is what Korea is.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of people that would bend their morality for $60,000 fucking dollars.
Yeah, of course.
And the thing that's crazy about it is the way the mental hoops you go through is you're like, well, I probably won't get caught. Who cares? I'm just throwing one match. But I feel like it's only until after that you realize that you represent more than just that one match to so many people. Like, you represent the integrity of that game, the sanctity of that game. And then you start to learn it's actually just flat out illegal. Like the competition is all of a sudden null and void. The people that put it on have this terrible PR disaster at their feet. Like it only becomes so explosively bad, I feel like, after. I feel like most people don't realize what they're saying yes or no to at the time.
Right.
Like
and
the vast majority.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think that there's ever a place that you're going to really have a chance to feel that you're impacting something sacred, it's going to be Korea. I mean, and it's the Starcraft scene, and we saw it. You guys were around for this. They were around for this. The Savior incident, and any other match fixing that happened in Brood War. How can you look back? That's what I want to know. Like, I want to know what his situation was. Now, yeah, we heard rumors. I don't think there was anything definitive that he was a gambler. I don't know if you ever hung out with him, Jeff, or if you saw him at events. Life.
Yeah, Steven did too. He was at Home Story Cup.
Was he a gambler? Was he a?
Fuck yeah, he's famous for it.
Yeah.
Okay,
But
maybe
not like betting on matches gambling. He's famous for playing poker.
No, that's what I mean. I mean,
and more than poker too, like casino stuff too, right? I thought that I'd remember. Fuck, wasn't there an event where somebody tweeted out that Life lost like $10,000 gambling at an event, or am I totally imagining this?
No, you're not wrong. That's a famous story. In IPL, when he was there, he apparently in Vegas lost like $10,000.
Yeah. I heard that from a few different people.
Yeah. So I've heard that maybe he lost a lot of money. I mean, that's how I'm correlating it to this, is perhaps he lost money and that was a motivator for why. Because Life on top of the scene, Life, one of the best players in the world.
But that's hardcore speculation that we can't possibly know.
Right.
Like, we're getting into like maybe like at this point, like, well, maybe somebody was threatening to kill Life's mother if he didn't return on his gambling debt. So maybe this was actually like, I think that this kind of speculation is pointless. Like, we have no way of knowing. Yeah.
No, I just tried to think of why someone would do it at that level. That
it's $60,000, 43, whatever. It's a fuck ton of money is why they would do it. Yeah. That's a lot of money. The tournaments they were competing in, top prize was like $25,000, and that's if they win additional matches.
Right, right, and I agree. So I'm trying to think of it from the perspective of Life. You've got someone who has still has a future, like you said. Someone who has made a lot of money. I don't know what his total prize winnings are, but he's made a lot of money. And then he has the historical context of the shit that happened in the Brood War scene to look at and say, do I want to be a part of that? Do I want to do that to myself? Do I want to take this risk? And then you say, sure, $40,000, $60,000 is a lot of money. And I say, what other shit would have to go on for him to think? That's
I mean,
what I
switched to own for only $15,000.
That wasn't even real money. That's the weirdest part about it.
Well, the first $15,000 was real, but the 20 that they owed me at the end.
Oh, did you get 15? I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah, I thought you got screwed completely.
No, what? No, for a whole. I worked for them for a year. How would I survive?
Oh well,
it was just like the past. It was like just the last like 3 or 4 months I didn't get paid, and then all of my subscribers ever, I never got that money. But the first like 6 or 7 months are pretty good.
Good.
Would you do it again, Steven?
I mean, going back with the information I had at the time, I mean, I don't know how active you were in the streaming scene at the time. I don't say that's an insult.
I was around. No, I know.
Yeah.
I was around.
Yeah, there was like, looking back on it now, obviously Twitch was the better choice, but it wasn't always like that. Like Twitch, the only never mind. There were things that were like, right? There were things that were happening where people were kind of iffy on like either platform, and Own was a very legitimate platform at the time, right? Every single League of Legends streamer was on Own. Like they weren't like the weird shit show that they turned into at the end, or like they weren't like Hitbox or even a Zubu status right now. Like they were really well established. So I mean, I don't like regret it. I regret how things turned out, but I think I made an okay decision given the information I had at the time. What's up?
Oh, so I just going back to the match fixing. Jeff, do you think that this? Go ahead.
Sorry. I was going to say, we could take a moment to be grateful for Twitch. I remember that. Do you remember back in the day when Twitch used to be fucking horrible in Europe? That was actually one of the biggest reasons why why Owned was able to get an audience, is because you couldn't watch European tournaments on Twitch. They would lag like a motherfucker every time, but they actually fixed it. And now you can watch it really well now. Good props to Twitch for that. But yeah, that used to be a huge problem on Twitch. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, props to Twitch. Do you think that this is going to have this new revelations, new additional information? Do you think it's going to, everyone likes to talk about how's this going to affect the scene? Well, I want to know, do you think that we're getting more information that is going to negatively impact the future of StarCraft? Or are we just going to see more regulation, more close hold, better eye from Kespa on the scene?
I feel like it's ran its course. Like it definitely had its impact, and everyone was sad and down about it, and it made its news cycle. But there's going to be more intel coming out and stuff like that. I don't think each one's going to be another punch to the gut of StarCraft. I think it's ran. I mean, I could be wrong, but I feel like it's had its impact.
As somebody that's not as closely involved in the scene anymore, I guess like this particular thing didn't have a huge impact, but it really feels like for StarCraft, there's just like bad news item after bad news item. It would be nice if that would not happen anymore. Like, because sometimes like going around like the StarCraft subreddit has been really fucking depressing this past like
Jesus.
2 months. Oh my god, like there have just been, and not even because of necessarily people being excessively negative, but just like between like this match fixing thing and I don't know, man. It's been pretty between the streamers. Nathanius obviously isn't too happy streaming, and there have been was it Fenner was probably one of the best content makers, even if he didn't have the biggest audience. Like he was doing really well on his YouTube shit. Like him and I think another guy announced they switched to Overwatch just because of the kind of unsustainability. Like watching the average viewership dip. Like I don't know. There's just been a lot of like bad news. It would be nice if not more bad shit would be piled on top of it, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the saddest part when it comes out. It's just like, oh, good, we needed that, and it's just like,
yeah.
You just feel bad for a while.
All right, so let's talk about something completely off topic. We have a few more things to discuss. Legendary Leah got a ban for 30 days. It wasn't a full-time ban, but that ban a couple days after, what was the guy's name? What's his name?
Gore.
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 Yeah, Gross Gore. So
why didn't we talk about this earlier in the show when we were discussing relevant topics like porn sponsorships?
I know.
Got him. Got him. Oh,
All right.
I'll show to use that one.
Yeah. Anyway, so Steven, I know you had a big video, but you want to give a TLDR of your thoughts on the Gross Gore ban?
Not really, because there's a Twitch admin in your chat. Just have to take this one over.
Is there?
Yep, I don't know.
Oh, I mean, because your opinion. I don't know. I didn't actually know anything about him at all. So let me give the perspective. I like these topics, by the way. It's funny because people are yelling at me, and I'll bring it up later, guys. We should. I'm sad Nathanius is not here, but we should also do some StarCraft analysis on the show. I think that'd be something people would like, and it'd be cool. I mean, I don't watch any StarCraft or cover any of it at all, but it'd still be fun anyways. But my perspective on that, which I do find interesting. I'm glad we have an outlet to talk about it. And Steven's fanboys will enjoy the drama and the banter, I'm sure. I had no idea who that was. I had no idea what was happening, but the second it started to like kind of go around the Twitter sphere and people were talking about it, I read into it. There's some funny stuff going on there. That was interesting. So first of all, the guy apparently is a little bit of a edgy personality, we would say, but a pretty big personality in League of Legends. Nothing mega big, but pretty big. I think he said he had something like 2,000 subs or something like that, something pretty crazy, like a decent fucking number. The guy's a big streamer. But he, on a show, and I read his Twitter, because I was like, I wanted to get involved. I wanted to see the whole atmosphere that was going to happen here. And he's like, he's a British guy, and he's like, all right then, gonna do a drama show here, boys. We're gonna have a few drinks and talk some shit. Basically, none of it really mattered, except that, I don't know, he happened to mention that he believes Crepo had sex with an underage girl at an event. Crepo, if you're not familiar, is one of the foremost League of Legends commentators and personalities in the entire scene. And while what he said, and it's funny that this many people argued and defended this, while what he did allegedly in that country is not outright illegal, it's like actually kind of bad. It's a gray area. From what he said.
No, not even gray. Like Riot wouldn't want to be associated. Like that's a very clear negative thing. Yeah.
Okay. So the point I'm trying to make though is like, and by the way, I'm not saying I have no opinion. I'm giving you the perspective on my reading into this. He says that on a stream. I know Crepo. He's a friend of mine. Crepo is a really friendly, good guy. But if you fuck with him, like that whole group of guys, like him, Snoopy and stuff, they'll slap a bitch, and I'm sure that's what happened. If it wasn't Riot outright, I'm guessing Crepo did not take kindly to such comments being made publicly on a very large stream, and probably said, "Hey, do something about that." That guy is like flat out saying, in some countries it's statutory rape and stuff. It's like actually really bad. So lo and behold, this guy who's received a couple other warnings is just flat out nuked, just gone, banned. And if you want, if you're not involved in the scene and you want to see a guy come unglued and get really upset, but then keep saying it for like 10 minutes, you should watch his video. I did that. He's like, "That's it, boys. I'm done. I'm done.
I fucked up.
I'm done.
I fucked it all up. I let you down. I let me down.
It's all fucked." And I was like, "Geez," and I feel really bad for him. And then he'd be like, "I did it. I'm done. It's fucked." And he kept doing that, like this like weird cycle of it's fucked for 10 minutes. So I believe is very upset. But yeah, it's like an interesting topic of discussion. But his specifically, I don't find that interesting because you can't say shit like that on the stream. You can't.
But do you
I
think
guess, like,
that warrants a lifetime ban?
Here's like an interesting thing to provide like a counterpoint to that. So like, in theory, I kind of agree that like on this show, I would never entertain the topic, like a serious topic that Mike Borhain, like, make similar accusations and talk about it, like, seriously, you know, for an hour. Like, I definitely think this happened or whatever. The only thing that kind of feels strange to me, and this comes along with, like, Twitch consistency, is, like, maybe different people interpreted it in a different way, but, like, to repeat kind of, like, a rumor that you hear for, like, a minute and then kind of move on, is that something that like counts as, because I've heard a lot of rumors about a lot of people, and I'm sure that if I were to go back through my VODs, I guarantee you I've said offhandedly some things about some people. Like, if I would have said the wrong thing, this makes sense. If I would have said the wrong thing about the wrong person, would I have just got nuked for repeating a rumor? That's really scary to me.
I like what you said about the transparency. Like, you were talking about how Twitch should have a very clear 1, 2, 3. Like, if you do these things, you'll be banned. I 100% agree with that. I don't think it should be this nebulous, like, you stepped on the particular political wrong toe and all of a sudden that gets you banned.
You're fucking deleted. Yeah.
But what I would say here is this, and I feel like, I don't think I would call myself the outlier, but I would say I'm more on the conservative end of the spectrum here. I don't find it that shocking that if you say something really bad about someone, even in passing on stream, like if you have and that's where it becomes like you have to get out of the word of the letter and more into just common sense. Like, if you're streaming to 3,000 people, there's a chance a handful of those people are the wrong people to hear what you're about to say, and that could go somewhere that you had no intention of it doing. Like, if we're on the stream, we're like, "Oh, and in passing, I heard Rotterdam was born a girl and then once had sex with a toad until it died, and then he ate it rectally." Like, if I just in passing say that, but then I'm like, let's just move on anyways. And then Kevin's, like, thrown out of his house, fired from ESL, and, like, these really bad things happen. Or, the other end of the spectrum, nothing happens. But, like, 100 people believe that to be true, and then they ask Kevin about it all the time. Do I get fired and shut down and I'm just removed from everything? That'd probably be pretty severe. But it also is, like, inside the world of what could happen, and I should know that, is what I'm saying, right? Grossy Gore is not an idiot. Well, maybe
in theory, I agree with you, but I would actually reverse what you said. I think that it's more like you have to go letter of the law instead of spirit of the law because of the way selective enforcement works. Like, I guess it kind of feels like, and looking at the gross Gore situation, it feels like, I mean, you know how speeding works, right? Speeding is done, the enforcement is selective. Not everybody gets dinged for speeding. It would be like if one day you were driving on the interstate, you know, so you're going 70 on a 55, like every single person in the interstate does, and then, like, a cop comes blazing out of nowhere, and it's like 70 and a 55, 15 over, that's reckless driving. Like, you're losing your license, you're going to jail. And it's like, what the fuck? And then, like, at that point, like, you're like, fuck, this sucks so much. And everybody's just like, well, dog, you were speeding. It was 70 and 55. You broke the rules. I mean, like, you did it. Like, it's your fault. And it's like, I mean, yeah, kind of, but everyone else did. And then people are like, well, just because everyone else breaks the rules doesn't mean you can break it. It's like, yeah, but I mean, like, damn, that sucks. Like, when I got I got a week ban from Twitch. I don't know, I'm sure you heard this, right? I got a week ban from Twitch for watching YouTube videos. It was like, whoa, what? It was like, holy shit, like, I didn't even know you could get banned for that. Like, everyone does it, and it's like, if you go to, like, the letter of the law, or if you go to, like, the common sense thing, like, okay, we're watching, like, a YouTube video right now, and then probably isn't a big deal, but, like, the letter of the law, you know, it's technically other people's IP on your stream. You know, it doesn't qualify as fair use. Who knows? That's, like, a really gray area. You probably shouldn't do it. But everybody does it all the time, and it's like, it's just, like, it's one of those things where, like, and this is what frustrates me the most, and I hope I got this across in my video. Like, I want to be on Twitch's good side, and every streamer wants to be on Twitch's good side. I don't want Twitch to think that they need to ban me, not because I'm barely following the rules, because I want to be an asset to Twitch. I don't want them to have bad ideas or, you know, that I'm constantly spreading line. Of course. It's my income. And same thing with Grossy Gore. And I feel like if people would have reached out, or if there would be, like, a really fucking clear thing on Twitch where it's like, if you do this thing, you are going to get in trouble for it. And it's like, okay, I'm never doing that thing because I don't want to
Yeah.
get in trouble with Twitch, you know? Instead of like, you see every single person on the site constantly breaking all these rules. And it's like, well, I mean, I guess it's probably not a big deal. And then you just kind of hope that you're not the person that gets made an example of. And it's like, damn, like, it's really scary to know that, because like I know that I probably do like 5 or 6 different things on a daily basis that might get like my stream banned. Like one of the things that Gore got a warning for was the two. Did you hear about the 2 warnings he got?
Yeah, he mentioned him. I can't remember off the top of my head what he said.
It's really scary. So one warning came because a guy donated to him. A guy donated to his stream and said, "I'm gonna call hookers and prostitutes for every streamer and watch you guys get fucked." So Gore posted his email on stream and he's like, "Fuck you, dude." And Gore got a warning for that.
Oh yeah.
When people have done shit to me like that, dog, I post their email address, their IP address, and every piece of information I have. And I'm like, I didn't know that shit was gonna get me fucked. Like, holy shit, like that's really scary. But Gore got a warning for it, and I didn't. And then the second warning that Gore got was because he said that another streamer was acting like a slut, and he said it on Twitter, and he got a warning on Twitch for that. I've said, obviously, as we all know, I've said way worse things on Twitter. Way worse things on Twitter.
Yeah.
I can get warned on my Twitch account for that. Like, I had no fun. So, like, the problem is, let's say that I do something, and I'll admit, like, say I fuck up and I do something bad. Let's say that I call In Controller DJ Weed. I say some really bad shit about DJ Weed, and they come around and they permaban me. And I'm like, well, hold on, fuck. I admit I fucked up, but do I need to be permabanned for this? And they're like, well, let's look at all the things that you've said on Twitter. And it's like, oh shit, I didn't even know that was like fair game. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
Like, I didn't know we were keeping tabs on that. You know, that's the only thing. The lack
I think
of consistency.
nobody will disagree with you on this, Steven. I 100%
Yeah.
agree that a website as big and as important as Twitch should absolutely have rules laid out for what and like the severity of them. And I think they have like a kind of a loose guideline, but absolutely I agree that like
Yeah.
I had no idea you could tweet something and then Twitch would be like, hey, by the way, we saw that tweet, you're fucked. And it's like,
Yeah.
wow.
Well, and the
I
big,
think where we differ a little bit is so let me give like an analogy to this just to further confuse this because I like watching the chat spin in circles. But like I believe in privacy, but I also am actually, and this is going to be weird because on the internet a lot of people are against this, but I'm actually pretty okay with how invasive the government is for the most part, because I'm of the peace of mind that if I am hiding like child pornography, I don't care. I mean, this is a weird way to say it, but like that person, I don't care that their privacy was invaded. I want them found. If they find something on me, I'm not ashamed of it because I feel like I live a pretty straight and narrow life. But if they're like, hey, Jeff, the other day you jerked off to a porn, and it turns out that girl was
17 at the time of filming.
there
or
you go.
something, yeah.
There you go. And then I'd be like, oh, Jesus Christ, maybe I'd have a different opinion then. But for the most part, what I'm trying to say is like, I'm of that opinion that like common sense is kind of a guiding light for me. That being said, that's not an argument against what you just said because I 100,000% agree with you. In fact, Steven or Lycan, if you can, I think a infinitely more interesting guest for us would be like someone from Twitch, like a Twitch moderator or something like that. Not necessarily to speak on behalf of Twitch, but to give us an idea of some answers on that or something like that. I'm sure we can't get anybody, but that'd be kind of cool.
I mean,
So I
let,
think,
let
like,
me message
kind of-
DJ Wheat.
So like kind of sorry. So kind of like a counterpoint to what Jeff said. Like I understand the rationale there. The only problem that you run into, the philosophical and the real manifestation we just saw this was people are like, well, what if that system gets abused? And the really bad thing about the gross score ban is that we just had this legendary Leia stuff come up now.
Yeah.
And now people are like, hold on then. So different people get to play by different rule books. So if we're going to do all this stuff where we want to be, you know, like super hardcore and nobody can break the rules or do any of this shit, okay, that's fine. But then when Legendary Leia gets involved in time, and I think she's been banned 3 or 4 times before on Twitch, she's been banned for 1 day to a week. Like, holy
know
shit.
that.
And now she gets another ban for showing her vagina on stream, and it's a 30-day ban. Like,
It
that's
was
it.
thighs,
Like,
Steven. You don't know what a vagina
yeah,
looks
the
like.
lavender color.
Hey,
The
listen.
lavender color. Like,
Man.
at that point, and now you're wondering, like, okay, well, so do different people get different numbers of bans or get to play by different
Yeah.
rules? This seems really fucked up. Like, I think that the Legendary Leia drama happening right next to the Gross Score drama makes it look like 20 times worse for both cases, you know?
Well, so I felt like maybe it was just them coming around to some things. Maybe there were some internal discussions like, look, there's a lot of people that we haven't been putting the ban hammer on. And Legendary Leia is a huge case of someone getting away with a lot of shit. There is just there's a portfolio of her fuck ups. And they finally said, hey, you know what, we need to act on this. Because it's not just, you know, accidental nudity. She says, oh my God, you saw a little bit of my thigh. It was an accident.
It's similar to, like, Major. Like the things that just happen, like, oops, well, I don't know. I was like, I don't know. Like, there's again, like you said, there's a whole album of like legendary labia, like showing all of the shit time again. Like, it's not even like this happened once or twice. Like, it's just something that happens so often, it's almost to be expected.
That name is awesome.
It's interesting. I like. There's so many little worlds in Twitch that I have no idea exist, and then when this stuff happens, and my friends that are variety streamers start tweeting it, I kind of peer into it. What a crazy fucking world out there, man! Like, if you guys, there's this Imgur bin of
Yes.
gifs from her stream going around. It's
Yeah.
like, and it's so
Blatant.
damning and weird because she's actually like blackout drunk in all of them, and like,
Yeah, the
She's
Wait,
drunk
is she?
issue too.
I die. She like here's like, like just puts her like leg up on the like just weird shit.
At the end, when Chance goes up the stairs to talk to her about her shit on stream, and he's like, "Dog, this is your job. You need to like watch out." And she's like, I mean, I guess I don't know. Like, she sounds like fucked out of her mind.
So-
like she's on like.
I didn't hear that, and I've seen the fucking Imgur album of all the stuff, but I didn't know she was drunk. Like, I thought she was just a ditz. I didn't think.
Well,
that she was...
no, she's not. I mean, she might be a ditz, but well, hey, she's got a degree in biology. Remember? That's how she was able to sentence all of those leukemia kids to death.
That was so bad. That started this whole thing too.
Uh,
Well, most recently, but
Yeah.
so
yeah, and it's funny because this is not necessarily playing devil's advocate, but it's I kind of know without look, I'm not saying this as someone who's like, this is what Kevin Lynn told me. I've got nothing official like that, but part of the reason why Twitch has avoided specificity in a lot of these issues is because the moment they kind of lay down the law, they're held accountable to all of those laws. Like, you're absolutely right, Steven. If they did say, here's the 10 rules you cannot break and here's the punishment that go with it, it's like so much, it's more comfortable to be in the gray area of like, oh, that person did something that's obviously wrong, we're going to punish them. As opposed to, oh shit, this person technically did do something wrong, now they must be punished.
Mhm.
And I'm not saying that because I agree with it, by the way. Please don't anyone confuse that. I'm not defending this standpoint. But what I'm saying is, it is a luxury to have nebulous rules and just enforce them where you want, as opposed to, this is what we have to do. Because what happens when Lyric fires up his webcam and it's him like filleting a corn dog for an hour and a half, and then all of a sudden they have to ban Lyric from Twitch, and it's like, and now they have 1.5 million people who are like Lyric fanboys, and they're like, we're gonna come to your offices and we're gonna defecate on your door. Like, that's a scary fucking place to be. And then also it's weird too when you specify what's rules, and then someone does something bad that's not technically against the rules, so then you have to have the number 10 rule be, oh, by the way, we can ban you for anything.
yep.
And it's like, oh shit, okay.
As somebody that did banishment at the casino, that is completely and totally wrong. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, what you said is actually so true that it's actually that exact same thing is used a lot in the work world. And where, if you've ever had a job before, so in management, we used to call this thing where, let's say there's an employee that you want to fire, but you don't really have like the best reason for wanting to fire them. What you do is it's called papering them out the door. So what you're doing is you start writing up that employee for every single little infraction that they do. And anybody from any job, well, especially in the casino, but anybody from any job can get fired pretty much anytime because of that stuff. Because when it comes down to it, the amount of rules, like, did you accidentally like scratch the back of your head real fast before like handing a customer money, or like there'll be like crazy shit like that. Like, if you're ever at a job, and I'm sure there have been people in chat that have had this happen, if you're at a job and you find out that you're starting to get written up for a lot of weird things that you never got written up before, chances are somebody in management wants you gone, and so they kind of use the rules in that way to.
Yeah.
It's happened to my mom several times, unfortunately. Actually, she got papered out of jobs because they just they didn't like her. She was like too much of a social butterfly in the workspace, so they just fucking
Yep.
They don't have like a you're fired thing. They have a like you're written up for this, you're written up for this, you're written up for this, and you're
exactly.
gone.
It'll never be a big confrontation. It'll be little thing after little thing, and then when they finally do fire you at the end, if you do fuck up legitimately, or if you just say you come into work 5 minutes late and the manager pulls you in and he's ready to fire you, and you're like, how can you fire me? Like, I didn't actually do anything that bad. And I'm like, well, can you disagree with any of these things? And that's when I can pull out all of your write-ups and like the 4 write-ups, give you a clear paper trail, and now you're fucked. And
I had a friend.
Or guys, come to California, where it's literally written into the California state law that you can be fired for no reason at all.
Really?
Yep.
That's pretty crazy. My girlfriend works in human resources, and I hear a lot about this. Like, there are a lot of people who really are screw ups, but their management doesn't document it, so they can never get rid of them. So they get to stay and they get to be screw ups for a lot longer. But I had a friend in the Marine Corps. In the Marine Corps, they have the the Uniform Code of Military Justice that covers all of the military, and there's Article 134. And it's called the General Article, and it's exactly that. It's you've done something that we fucking hate, but we can't define it by any of the other articles. So
Yep.
Article 134, you get a punishment. And I had a friend who then got papered out. Well, if you use that term, but we have a thing called page 11s. They have different names in the different branches, but Marine Corps calls them page 11. And he was going to get charged for something, like he was drunk somewhere, and he fought it because he was in the right about the situation, and he didn't get in trouble. So they were pissed because he was going to get an other than honorable discharge, and he fought it and he won. He was going to get his honorable, he was going to get his benefits, everything. So then they started screwing with them. They'd call him in the morning at like 6:45 and say, "Hey, you need to be here by 7." Well, if you live off Camp Lejeune, there's no way in hell that at 7 o'clock in the morning you're going to make it to the gate, let alone on base with all the traffic that happens. So it was a bunch of those things. Then you get these things, and every time they write them up, they forward it to the commanding general, and eventually they were just like,
Get that
"Fuck
paper
you."
trail going.
Yeah, and eventually it was actually, they didn't try to do anything and then use the paper. The general eventually just kept seeing all these page 11s come across his desk, and he was like, okay, maybe this guy really is a piece of shit. And he eventually got his medical benefits, but like he had to pay for school and all kinds of crap. Like, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of things too. Upper management sometimes won't see. They don't know who the fuck you are. So if you have to review, if you've got to throw something by like a manager of a manager or something in order to approve a fire or hire or whatever, and all they see is the paper trail coming in of like, oh, write up after write up after write up, and it's like, oh, I'm good.
Yep.
But with all that being said, and then to echo something that Jeff said, I don't know how Jeff actually feels about it, but like even though that's the way that it works, I don't like that system just because it is prone to abuse. Like I saw it abused at the casino. If there's somebody, so to give you like examples, if there's somebody that you don't like for whatever reason, say you think that they're a bitch or say they're black and you don't like them, you can get that person fired pretty much anytime you want. When the rules are all like super kind of can be stretched and when nothing is really clear and all of that, like you can get pretty much anybody fired at any point in time for anything you want. So sometimes depending on your relationships at the office, it seems like different people get to play by different rules as a result of that. And it seems like we've not to do too much of a stretch, but it seems like at Twitch that kind of happens a little bit. Like you get a lot more leniency depending on who you are than other people.
Well, so let's go back to the original incident, and that's exactly what it seems like. Yeah, he had 2 warnings, right? But to me, a logical thing is you say something pretty fucked up. Hey, we're going to take a month, 2 months of your income. We're going to give you a pretty extensive ban because that was really fucked up. But just to go straight for the nuke, that seems like influence.
Well, they're saying they didn't go straight for the nuke, though. Right?
Well, like he had never been banned before. He just got those 2 warnings. That was it.
Yeah, and that's interesting. So I guess in that sense, then
I think it was there was like you said earlier, like he fucked with Crepo and Crepo brought down the fucking hammer, and that's what happened. Which is
let's also well, let's say this too, and this is interesting because I like these arguments, and it's funny because I want to talk about this, but it's so I have to give so many like defensive pre-arguments basically. I'm about to say something which I don't necessarily think is good or bad, but I do think it's something that I'm going to argue on behalf of existing because I think it does. So prepare your bodies for that, young chatters of today, please, all of you. I'm not actually saying this is how it should be. I'm about to argue that I think this is how it is. Back in a few years ago, we had a commentator, a young lass by the name of Orb.
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
As soon as you said it,
you know where I'm going with this. And Orb had an affinity for a racial slur that began with an N and ended with everything else. He actually, even on the NASL computers, was found to combine the word with other words, which is actually a never before done thing. It's actually kind of amazing. He's some kind of weird racist scientist. But he said a lot of colorful and anti-colorful words. When this surfaced, it wasn't the 3rd time, it wasn't the 4th time, it was like arguably the 2nd time, but let's even say it wasn't the 2nd time. It was the 1st time it surfaced. A guy who had moved from the East Coast to Arizona, and was accepting a salary, maybe a week into it, was fired on the spot and was disconnected, and that obliterated his career. He did a couple other things, kinda, but just never showed up again. I don't even fucking know what he's doing today. I don't think anybody can answer that except for some weird know-it-all that is just guessing. The point here, though, is that created a lot of controversy. because while this happened, there was another person on Team Evil Geniuses, a soothsayer, a wizard of sorts. He was very good at the game, but if you beat him, he would say such colorful things as like, I want to kill you with a tire iron, or I hope you get cancer, or you're set on fire. Like, pretty bad stuff, I think. And eventually, as the story would go, it does get him fired. But it took a long time. People made the argument Orb deserved more chances and a warning and some kind of, probation period, because Idra has been very clearly given way more leniency than that. And there's other examples too, guys, but stay on topic, please. Focus your pubescent minds. Now, the argument I'm about to make, and again, guys, please, this is where I once again remind you, I don't necessarily think this is how it should be. I'm arguing this is how it is. Idra is given more leniency because he's worth more to the team, to the community, to everything. Orb had very little value, so when he fucked up on a pretty big level, that's it for him. The reason I'm bringing this up is because this is actually applicable in life, and no company ever, by the way. You're not going to get like a broadcast from Twitch was like, hey guys, DJ Wheat, I just wanted you to know some people are worth more than others. Some of you are absolute trash to us. We don't care about you. Others are more famous, earn us money, and we love them better. It's never going to be said, but it's actually true. And that's why it's kind of weird. It's funny in the situation where it's like, because I agree with Steven, Roasty Gore, Legendary Leah, they both did fucked up things. One being treated so clearly poorly or worse than the other is hypocrisy in action. But I feel like it's also, and it's not that we shouldn't argue against it and push for better, but it does happen for a reason, right? Leah is connected and famous.
I agree with what you're saying, but it was really strange that the gross score guy was really big, even compared to Leia. But yeah.
Yeah.
I would take like what you're saying like a step farther. Like, I'm pretty sure, I guess if you don't want to say, you don't have to, that you think that it's probably good that some people are treated with leniency. Or if you don't want to say that, I mean, I would agree that it's
I think it's just a pragmatic fact of life is what I would say.
Yeah, of course. And I would even go as far as to argue that, like, if you do contribute a lot, you are going to be treated with leniency, and you probably should be. If you're a huge asset to somebody, then of course, you can handle like a little bit more of a fuck up than, somebody that does fuck all. Like, and I think that's an okay thing. I guess just like the only difference is like in looking at the EG situation, Idra at least I knew, I guess maybe I wasn't following that. At least Idra got in trouble for a lot of the things he did.
He was fine.
I'm pretty sure that like when Idra was counting his salary like every month, he was never including like $500 to $1,000 because of the fines that he got all the time.
I got a good story for you on that, real quick. Did you actually say something that's never been said, guys, but it's really funny? We used to go out to dinner with Alex Garfield, and he has like quite a few tattoos actually. And we used to joke because the tattoos would show up after Greg got fined, that each time Greg got fined, Alex got a new tattoo.
Oh yeah. So like I guess like at the very least, like even if you're gonna be more lenient with somebody, like at least like you have to be punishing them for it. Like I think that there is a bit of a difference between like if somebody's completely getting away with something scot-free versus like somebody gets a little bit more of a chance, But yeah.
And that's actually, I kind of lost wind in my story as I was saying, because the convoluted message I'm trying to say is some people will be treated better, but we should still always push for fairness, because that push is how progression happens. It's how a better life happens. Like Legendary Leah should not be not punished. She received a 30-day ban when, as you said, she's already received like 4 or 5 others. There's no consistency there. Obviously, that's too much. Like, we need to draw that back. Like, the next time her shirt blows off in a tornado and her vagina's flapping in the wind, like, we should probably ban her. It should probably be done. Just put a bullet in that old yeller and just call it good, Proverbial bullet, by the way, guys. Nothing's safe anymore.
Yes, yeah. It's just clarity for anyone watching. It's a metaphor. All right. So, I think it was a really good discussion on that, guys. Do you want any final thoughts, any closing thought before we move forward? Just, actually, let's talk real quick. You talked about, being vocal, that brings progress and all that. And I think that's...
I know where we're going with this.
Where am I going, Steven?
Do we need more dead game posts to be vocal about Blizzard helping the community, or is the negativity too much? Is that the next topic?
No.
Christ, no. We don't need
that. No. So Nestorius, or how do you say that?
The WoW server.
Yeah.
I want to say it right. 1 second. Sorry, guys. Yeah, Nestorius. All right. So Blizzard is talking about it. Something that Blizzard has always said. A lot of the comments from the Blizzard teams, the World of Warcraft team in particular, has been, no one wants this, or there isn't enough interest to support it, or people don't truly want us to make a vanilla server. But now there are people speaking. They almost have 300,000 signatures on the change.org with the open letter to Mike Morheim. And Blizzard is coming back saying, hey, we hear you, and we're actually looking into it, and we're actually considering it. And they have never, ever acknowledged it to that degree at all. So while, yeah, we get that all the time in StarCraft, like, we're considering that, or we're hearing you on this, Blizzard's turnaround on this is huge. But Vanilla's been around. Vanilla servers, as long as I know, have been around since Wrath of the Lich King, at least. I don't know if they were in there in Burning Crusade, but it's exciting. It's cool, and that's how you get it. So when you have people doing these kind of things, where you enjoy service, we all enjoy Twitch. We love Twitch, but at the same time, we see this inconsistency, or we see something that we disagree with. It's very important to be vocal. Now, I will say that the most powerful people, and I'd like your opinion on this, Jeff and Steven, but the more powerful people, the people like you and Steven and others who can say something, who can speak out, I feel that when you're dealing with someone like Twitch, where your livelihood is based for a lot of these people, it's hard for them to actually bring up the courage. Like, if you think...
Yeah, for sure. It's really scary. Even make as stupid as it fucking sounds, and I'm not saying I'm like a fucking war vet or anything, but like making that YouTube video even was like kind of scary, because you never know if because if Twitch wants you gone, if you're going to start getting dinged every time you're like under the wrong there was a streamer that got banned for 24 hours because his game was labeled incorrectly for a long time.
No.
Yeah. Does
Really?
anybody in chat, was it Psy Syndicate, I think? Somebody in chat. Apparently he was like talking a lot to a streamer or something, but his game was listed under being Arma 3, so he ended up getting a 24-hour ban for it. Yeah. So like
it was erroneously banned for just
Oh my god. Is he unbanned? He's not unbanned now, is he?
I don't know.
Oh my god, that fucking piece of shit. You know that Masan is literal cancer, right? Does everybody here
your
know?
tweets and stuff? I read into it. It's interesting.
Okay,
yeah.
you saw that like Masan made an account on Team Liquid, viewbotted Amaz the day before, and then said, "Look, Amaz viewbots," right?
And Amaz is like one of the weirdest targets because he's actually one of the just creepily nicest people you'll ever meet in your entire life.
Yeah, like Masan did that. He made that account to frame, and then viewbotted Amaz in order to frame him. And I think Masan's excuse later was that somebody hacked his Skype account or something, and then got his IP.
Wow.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah. What was I saying? What did I agree? I agree. I don't know what we're talking about. Sorry.
Oh, you're talking about the guy that had his stream mislabeled and got banned.
Oh, well, we were talking about the people that can say something are kind of afraid to.
Oh yeah, that coming out and saying things are like really scary, because you can get fucked at any time, and your stream is your livelihood. And up until like, I don't know, would you say like a year and a half ago, it seemed like up until then you could pretty much say or do anything, and your stream was always kind of like your safe zone. I mean, I know this more than anybody, because how many things did I get banned or lifted from, or a team kicked out of, or whatever? Like, if that would happen, right, I get kicked out of a team, I get not allowed to cast some event, whatever, things happen. But, I've always got my stream here, I can come back to my stream. And some people might disagree with this, but I like separation between your platforms, just as a rule of thumb, because when everything starts getting merged together, people in the public are fucking crazy when it comes to, like, what somebody needs to lose as a punishment, if somebody fucks up really bad on their YouTube account, then maybe their YouTube needs to ban. That's fine, but I don't think that ban should follow them to Facebook and Twitter and Twitch and Instagram and every single social media account they have.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel the same way with like if you do bad things or whatever, like in order to get permabanned from Twitch, it seems like you would have to do something really, really, really fucking bad. But for the most part, you should be safe. But it seems like over the last year, like it's getting a little bit easier to get banned from Twitch, and that Twitch account means a lot to a lot of different people.
To be fair, I think it's actually interesting. I agree with everything you said, except that I think it is actually hard to get banned from Twitch. However, it's hard overall, but easy politically. Like if you go up against Riot, it appears to be pretty consistent. They will talk to Twitch and they'll get you fucked. Like you shouldn't go up against Riot if you're a streamer.
I'm almost embarrassed to say this. I hope he's not watching, because if his ego gets any bigger, he's going to form a black fucking hole. I was talking to Richard Lewis a little bit about this, and he pointed me to a thread.
Watching, but
I know. He pointed me to a thread, and I'd never seen this before. Nicole Slaw got permanently banned from Twitch, right?
Who?
Nicole Slaw was she was kind of a booby streamer for League of Legends, and she was the girl with that cat issue that popped up. Do you remember where people were like, she strangled her cat to death on stream? Did you ever hear about this?
Yeah.
Maybe not. She was a
Oh
reasonably
no, I
large.
watched that. Yeah, she was like
Yeah,
torturing the cat, man.
well, I mean, I don't know if I would go that far. Like, obviously, she mishandled it, but like, she had never had any bans or anything, and she got permabanned from Twitch as soon as that happened. Well,
Well, that was
one thing
political too, though. That like everyone took to Twitter and started. That was like a viral thing. It went crazy.
yeah, but not only that, but that was posted in the League of Legends subreddit, and there were a couple Riot admins that showed up, or Riot employees that showed up and said, "We're going to do everything we can to make sure that, or like, we're going to report this as many times as we can to make sure something happens." So now I kind of wonder if the only reason her stream got permabanned was because she was affiliated with League and because it caught the eyes of Riot mods. I mean, that's a little bit of a stretch. We got a little bit tinfoily there, but I don't know. I kind of wonder.
It didn't hurt, but I just remember when that happened, man. Like, it was all over Twitter. The videos everywhere. People like.
Yeah, for like a week. It was like.
You know, shit goes viral. It was huge.
Oh, yeah.
It was huge at the time.
Yeah,
I felt bad about that because so I watched the video, so I tweeted about it. Like as soon as I saw it, I'm like, this is fucking absurd. Because when you first watch the video, when you see it and someone says, look at this video of this chick choking the cat, right? When you look at it, it looks like she's pressing down. It looks like the cat's hurt, like clawing into her, and then you see her face like clench in pain because she's being clawed, and it kind of looks like she's trying to, lay it on harder. Yeah, and I'm like,
fucked up video, man.
Yeah, and I'm like,
I mean,
holy
it's
shit! But
kind of
then
fucked up. But like, if you like, I don't
you watch it again, it's not as bad. When you watch it again, she's actually trying to get the claw. Like she can't let go of the cat because it's clawed into her, and like it makes a little more sense. And you're like, that wasn't her trying to murder the fucking cat.
Like, I think it was kind of bad and it was a shitty handling of the cat, but I don't think it was as bad as people like. Cats are really fragile creatures. Cats have as many bones in their body as humans do, right? Their bones are very small. They're very, very fragile creatures. If you wanted to choke or kill a cat, like somebody of an adult size could do it in an instant. Like, and I'm not defending what she's doing because I know there's a bunch of people now that are making shrines of me, like, and killing voodoo dolls because they think I murder cats in my free time. But like, I think that she did fuck up and it was bad, and maybe it even warranted like a week ban or whatever. But I don't think she was genuinely trying to hurt or kill the cat.
Yeah.
It just seems like, I don't know. Like, if she wanted to, she could.
This is a perfect example, though. I'm glad you brought this up because I don't disagree with you. No, in the video, she's not like twirling it by its tail and smashing it.
Or it's like screaming and she's like trying to tear its neck off, like the
Ringers. What she's doing, and this is actually a very good message and a very good conversation for people to know. Like, animal cruelty is one of those like trigger activism things where like, no, she wasn't killing the cat, but we'd all agree she was being gruff with it and bad. And it's a cat, which, by the way, is also, like, ridiculously loved on the internet. So the second that video's going out of this girl, like, leaning in, kind of choking the cat, it's really weird and dark and gruff, and then she, like, throws the cat. It's, like, kind of bad. That's going to get political very quick. If she's, like, I don't know, if she's wrestling a big dog or something like that, it probably, and don't go do this, guys. This is under the topic of don't do these things, but I don't know that it gets that political. I don't know that it gets that bad.
Oh, you're absolutely 1,000,000% right. If you were to hitch a plane right now and go to Africa and kill like a family of like 4 or 5, that would be kind of fucked up, and you might be on the news, like on like the 3rd page for like a day or something, maybe. But if you go to Africa and you get kind of tricked by a couple of people and you accidentally kill the wrong lion, well, fucking Cecil the lion was on the internet for like 2 fucking weeks.
Yeah.
Because people love fucking that dentist's life got fucking ruined. People shit all over his office. It had signs up calling him murderer and shit. Like, holy fuck, yeah. Animals are a definite hot button topic.
And that's why, like, it's so important for you guys to understand, like, that is the climate that is right now. Like, there are, and actually one of the cool parts about Steven's video, you guys should check it out if you haven't already, that you and I read the same article. You might have even tweeted it, and I read it from you. But the one about the girl that's like, I'm not going to get AIDS in Africa because I'm white. LOL. And she steps off the plane. There's a couple of stories, and the guys at the tech conference, that all that stuff. It's a really interesting article because here's the thing. All those people said and did something very stupid, except for the guy that like someone like stood or the woman turned around, took a picture of him, and then walked away. That one was fucked up. Because
the guy made kind of an inappropriate joke. He made like a USB dick joke.
He talked about it.
Though.
Yeah, he said forking the code. He said I forked that code.
It was to his friend. It was just
He said. But again, like at a professional conference, you probably shouldn't be making dick jokes to your friends. But yeah, but for the most part, I agree.
My main point is, and Steven talked about this in his video. The like kill team of people out there that like what they think should happen to someone that says and does those things is so bonkers. It's crazy. Like they like, and DJ Wheats had people do this. Everyone that has a life online, but like people will call and say like, here's the address of your son's school. Here's your house. I'm going to show up tomorrow and shoot them and kill them. And that person's like in fear. And that other person has no plans of ever doing that. but it does happen, so they don't know, and that person's just trying to create terror to them. And it's like, why'd you do that? Well, I did that because he stopped streaming League of Legends, which is the game that I watched him play. It's like, you're not a real person. You're not even sane. It's like, well, of course, he should be fucking burnt at the stake for this. Those people exist, and it's horrifying.
Funny, somewhat related story for fans that are my stream, for my wonderful fans. One of the reasons why me and my relationship with DJ Wheat was so rocky for so long was because after that episode where we all got into that screaming match, I didn't know this, but I got to talk to him in person finally a few months ago. I didn't know this, but apparently a lot of, I don't know if they were my friends or Starcraft people in general, were like messaging DJ Wheat saying that they were gonna like find his kid at school and like fucking kill him and shit. Like that's really fucked up. Like that's super fucked up because just imagining, because we yelled at each other on a show discussing a video game. Like, I'm gonna go find your son and kill him. Like, holy shit! Like, calm the fuck down. Yeah, like, and that was one of the reasons earlier. That ties directly into what I said earlier, where I like isolation on platforms, because when you start banning people across multiple platforms, shit gets really retarded, really fucking fast. Like, for somebody to lose their presence on multiple platforms, they need to have fucking killed somebody, raped something, or like blown a building up for shit to get that fucking sick. If somebody calls somebody a name or says even a really bad word, like, they deserve to get punished. Like, you're talking about that woman and she made that dumb tweet. Like, maybe it was a really offensive tweet. Maybe her Twitter account should have been suspended. Should she have lost her job, her life, her friends, and everything else? Probably not. The guys that made that USB dongle joke at the convention, should they have been, asked by somebody at the convention, maybe even to leave for the day, which would be a pretty big deal? Yeah, sure, maybe. But should they have lost their jobs? Should their families be like drastically or dramatically trying to find like a new way to sustain themselves? Like, no, like people get way too crazy on that shit.
It's really crazy.
Real quick, I want to talk. So you've talked to DJ. I heard you say that the other day on stream. So you talked to DJ Wheat. Like, how was that? How'd that go?
I mean, it was okay. It was awkward at first because I thought DJ Wheat fucking hated me. But no, I guess like the problem that DJ Wheat had was for a long time after our thing. One of these weird things we get into on the internet is it's very hard sometimes to separate people from their fan bases. And every person has had that issue, right? It is where you start all of a sudden you're taking heat for things that your fan base does. And it was like, oh, hold on, like I would never do this, right? Some of it maybe you encouraged, some of it maybe you didn't, some maybe implicitly, explicitly, whatever. But yeah, apparently there were a lot of people that were like harassing DJ Wheat and his family and like, sending him horrible messages about his family and his son and shit as a result of the disagreement that we had on the show, things that I personally would never do, but like, so DJ Wheat kind of had like that in the back of his mind always in terms of, dealing with me or whatever. So, and I don't necessarily blame him. Like,
yeah, I
mean, I can understand. Yeah.
Yep. I feel kind of, I shouldn't say this online, but I'm a bold person. And maybe I'm even playing with fate a little bit, but I've never been one to receive death threats. It's actually never happened. One guy said he was going to, I was like, he really didn't like me. I can't remember what it was about, something on Reddit. And he said he lives in Emeryville and he's going to come and stab me at a movie. That's as close as I've ever gotten. And I said to him, tonight I'm going to see such and such movie at 7:30. I'll be the big blonde guy. He said, I'll be the 6'9" guy in a Boston Red Sox hat with a knife. And I was like, okay. He didn't try to stab me. He wasn't there. So if I upset any of you and you really want to go full anger at me, you could be my first.
God, don't taunt them.
Shit.
You have Steven's fans watching.
No, they're all StarCraft people. We're fine.
All right.
Friends, joking. But I'm just saying, it's funny. It's like there's some backseat psychology to go on here that's really interesting. Like, you do that to people who have families and who have weaknesses because that will really scare them. That's why they say it.
Yeah.
I don't have kids. Anna she has a machine gun, so that nobody threatens her either.
Somebody posted this on fucking 4chan because I wasn't streaming. Jesus Christ, man. People are fucking crazy on the internet, man.
What? What'd you... Oh, it's in the chat.
Holy shit.
What is this?
It's my house.
Holy fuck.
People get fucking crazy. People are fucking insane, dude. It's quite the memes.
That's fucking horrifying.
How'd you find that? Does someone send it to you? Oh, it's Spread to Bear Arms posted it.
No, it wasn't actually him.
Okay.
You think he would still be in my chat if he was posting my fucking address on 4chan?
Did you, how did they get that? They just pulled your IP or some shit? And
Honestly, I'm not very careful with my address. For a long time when I did that computer building thing, if you wanted to get my address, all you would have to do is get far enough to where you were shipping computer parts to me and I'd give you the address, so it was whatever. But
oh, okay.
All right, so real quick, did you guys see the link that I sent you before Steven sent his?
With Lyric tweeted out something saying
Yeah.
being critical of Twitch, and then he deleted the tweet shortly after. Yeah.
I mean, do you think
lot of
that's
people that do that.
you know that kind of
I
thing
wouldn't
where
do it. I wouldn't do it. Lyric, by the way, guys, has something like 25,000 subs or some shit.
Jesus,
Like some insane number.
Yeah.
I
don't know if it's 25,000. I think he passed 10,000, but still, like 10,000 is literally
Okay,
at a
25 grand
50-50
a
split.
fucking year?
Yeah,
Let's
at a
call it
50-50 split, which he
whatever.
has better
And
than
it's
he's getting
we're
5
talking
figures a month.
ridiculous money, and that's from Twitch alone. Subs. I watch his stream kind of regularly. He gets donations of like $500, $600 in total, not and single donations, but every day he makes in tips like $500.
So what game does
Never
Lyric
mind the
play?
fact that any game he plays, it's not like that company's just like, hey, Lyric, here's a free copy of the game if you'd be so kind as to play it. They're paying that motherfucker money. Like, this guy is making bank. So in this situation, would you ever, like, is Twitch gonna ban him? No. Is Twitch gonna, like, punish him? No. But you do not weaken that relationship, because that is your cash cow, man. And that's why I deleted that. And I'm guessing that's why you won't see Lyric in the near future, at least, say, like, Twitch is poopy. Like, it's just not going to happen. It's horrifying when you see stuff like that. Some of those guys, man, they do that. Well, Destiny's done it too, but, you know,
Yeah.
you're all braver than me, I guess.
Not recently. I'm kind of a little worried now.
All right,
I'm a little worried.
let's talk about esports. Let's talk about the ESL esports channel. So, what do you expect from this? They've announced that they're working with partners to work globally. I sent an email to my old company that does the video distribution for like Fox News and CNN and shit, and it's like they actually take international channels and distribute them to DirecTV and other cable networks. So I was like, you guys should jump in on this. But I mean, so they're launching this esports channel. It's exciting, the idea that you're going to get 24/7 esports. But I mean, are they going to have TV shows, do you think? They're going to have, you know, like the late game, maybe? You know, on
Oh, it's a
Once a
TV
week?
show that has...
For
Yeah.
the TV show that they're sending out internationally, are they doing that via UDP or TCP packets though?
So, but seriously, it's going to be TV. They said they're going to use their partners, Twitch, Hitbox, and others. They're going to do it through that, but they're also using Viasat, which is MTG's regional Nordic, what do you call it, distributor, and they're talking to other cable and satellite distributors for global distribution. So, I mean, do you think that, you know, it's going to be the ESPN, like in that sense?
No. I
You
have
think-
no idea. Most esports and gaming on TV has had a really tough time.
Really bad.
We're gonna see what happens. Like Turner with CS:GO right now and the E League. Like, I wish them the best. It's kind of a test ground. Supposedly they've been open. They've hinted that it's not going to be just CS:GO should this be successful. So that's kind of cool. We'll see. I don't know. This has been said a dozen times, and actually we just talked about DJ Wheat, but this is actually like his pet theory, and that is that gaming doesn't need TV. Like, it'd be cool if it happened. It'd be cool if it's done right, but I'm not sitting here like hands held high, like, please, esports will die without this. No, everything's crushing. It's doing good.
Do you think that I mean, are you excited for E-League? I'm excited. I think it's gonna, not just because of the you know, it's on TV. I am excited just to see the E-League with the way they have it set up.
I am so excited to see Richard Lewis and Thorin at a desk with broadcast television producers in their ear, and to look into Thorin's cold, dead, black squirrel eyes and see him think about what he wants to say, but not be able to say it because there's a producer in his ear going, Duncan, don't you fucking do it. And he's like,
Richard, I got to say
Ninjas and
it.
Pajamas have just as good of a chance as the other team. It should be an exciting bout. Richard Lewis, what do you think? And he's like, right then, Duncan. Right then. It'll be great. And then one day, one of them's going to snap. He's like, yeah, fuck it, now. I slept with his mother. And then, like, some guy will come running over and tackle him off the stage and fucking, it'll be great. I can't wait.
It just
So
cuts
that's what
to
I'm
the
saying.
bars and tones. Beep. Yeah.
No, it'll be fine. Whatever.
Yeah.
I am very. It's so weird that we've gotten this far, but like, CS:GO is a game about SWAT police and like secret police shooting terrorists as they try to bomb sites. Like,
Yeah.
it
I've always
seems a
wondered
very
if that
interesting
would-
concept to that.
You talk
My
about
favorite piece of like political history has always been the fact that like after 9/11 and when terrorism was such a hotbed issue in Iraq and everything, the next president that we elected after George W. Bush was Barack Hussein Obama. I thought that was really interesting.
yeah.
But, yeah.
I mean, I was thinking like Valve would reskin it as like I don't like generic military groups. Like it doesn't have to be terrorists and SWAT police, but that's what it always has been, and they're keeping it. It's very interesting.
You ever thought? Well, Steven, you were talking about the mainstream thing earlier. You know, the more you go to the mainstream, you start sacrificing things. And I've wondered, you know, it's terrorists, counter-terrorists. It's blowing shit up. It's trying to prevent it from being blown up. Is that ever going to change? Do you think they're going to have to change the?
I think that the way that the gameplay is, it's far enough removed from any kind of real. Like, if you started littering the maps with like civilians who were violently exploding or being shot, like then maybe you'd be more of an issue. But like, it's pretty clearly like a video game with no real world. Or like if people, or like when you plant the bomb, if it blows up and your team is screaming like Allah Akbar, like then yeah, you would start running into issues probably. But I mean, it's far enough removed from any of that right now that you're probably never going to.
That's one of my favorite clips from your stream, by the way. Is when you were
Thanks.
up in Cat and you got this who guy starts saying one of the prayers in Steven's ear.
Yeah.
It was good shit.
That's fucking morbid, you
Good
guys.
video. Oh, it was a good video. I got like, over 1 million views on that motherfucker.
Did you fucking really?
Yeah, good video. Good
Are you
shit.
a little YouTuber now as well? Steve?
I'm trying real hard. I got the thumbnails going. I paid a dude for a new logo, and yeah, I'm trying all that shit. I told you, man, this Twitch shit is scary. I gotta be ready to move.
YouTube is so fucking hard to monetize though. Like if you don't have 100,000 subs, you're making like $20 a month or something.
I've got I think I've got 40,000 subs with a new video every single day, and I'm pulling around. I'm going real hard. I'm pulling about $300 a month, I think, right now.
There you go, man.
That's with 500,000 views a month. So yeah, we're climbing. We're getting up there.
Easy. It wasn't always like that, but it's just times are changing.
It wasn't always like that. We remember the golden era. Do you remember the golden era of Twitch?
Oh yeah.
Pushing that commercial button was like fucking printing cash. Like, I kind of want an extra $100 today. Maybe I'll commercial a couple extra times. Like, damn. Internet advertising.
I was just talking about that on my stream today. Like, I'm not bitter about that at all. It was cool, but it was also like, think about what's going on there. Like Twitch, like I don't know the numbers, but let's call it 65% of Twitch was watching Starcraft. Like there was not many other games that were.
That
big
might even be too. That it might have been more. It might have been like
more.
75%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I was easily the largest
ad
streamer on the site. Yeah, and that was under Starcraft. So.
Yeah. Crazy, man. I remember
ad revenue.
December in particular. Remember December where it was like they sold the good advertisement, like.
Yeah, but the bad ads on Twitch were still worth like 5,000 a month. It was like crazy fucking shit. Like, yeah, but the advertising has worked like that everywhere on the internet. Like AdSense people from Google AdSense, see a huge reduction in pay cuts based on what they used to get. People on YouTube have gotten huge pay cuts based on what they used to get.
Yep. I heard ad block saturated. I mean, it's not completely to blame that at all. But I heard that number is like way up. It's like 85%.
That ad blocking is, depending on the industry that you're in, is fucking massive. Like for gamers and shit, that shit gets as high as 90%, which means you're losing 10 times. So like maybe on my YouTube channel where I'm making $300 a month, which is chump change, maybe to a different audience I could be making $2,000 or $3,000 a month, which is a living. For some people, yeah, ad block numbers are huge, and also just the amount of bots and the amount of people gaming systems these days, and even like more than bots now, we've got human bots where it's literally the fucking Matrix, except instead of having people in pods, you have people in India who are clicking and creating whole fucking lives to sell to advertisers and shit on fucking Reddit and Facebook. So yeah,
is that
like,
real? I'm not surprised.
Yes,
that sounds
crazy.
amazing.
You ever get random ads from like people in India, like on Facebook and shit? Like there are a lot of Indian bot click farms now where people pay you to have a life online. Like it's not enough anymore to have a random bot click something. Now you need somebody who has friends, who has likes and interests, who posts about current events. But all of these people are fake. It's not even like they're real accounts. They just make like 20 accounts and they do this shit all fucking day in a room, and in order to sell it to advertisers. It's crazy.
I see. What do you call it? Some of the fake Twitter followers and things like that, they have really elaborate accounts now. Like they follow a lot of people. To some degree, they do a lot of retweeting, of different crap.
Yeah. They're interesting. There's so many too.
Amazon is actually fighting back against fake reviews. That was in the news recently. Is that they're actually working to really.
They did a study where like some huge percentage where like a decent percentage of reviews were actually like completely, totally fucking fake. People advertisers pay for it. Oh shit! There was a fucking, was there a video game? It was a game that got released on Steam or something. I wish I could remember exactly what it was, but when you went through and you started reading the reviews, what you would find is like there were like 10 positive reviews and they were all kind of the same. They would use like the same, like, this is an aggressive, fast-paced game. Like they always had like that phrase buried somewhere in the review, and it was like very obvious that the developer had paid for fake reviews or had written them themselves. Yeah, that shit happens pretty often too. Yeah.
Yep.
I usually rely on Total Biscuit to let me know when that kind of shit happens because he just starts yelling about it everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, shit's crazy.
Shit's cray.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about this really fucking cool game called Starcraft, right?
Yeah.
Let's talk about DreamHack. So that's coming up next weekend. Jeff, you're gonna be casting that shit, right?
Yep, with Nathanius, Rotterdam, Total Biscuit, and some others, I believe.
Oh, that's right, Total Biscuit. Have you talked to John? Is he really excited?
I haven't asked him about it specifically. I just said that I'm excited that he's going to be there, and they are too. You know, he's not a big flyer, and obviously he's been battling cancer, so doing events has been something he has just simply not done. But he's such a fucking badass. He's fought it to the point in time where he's looking and feeling good, and he's able to do this. And I think it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, it's exciting,
Do you
guys.
think at some point in time, this is very loose, do you think at some point in time, like Major looks back and sees like Total Biscuit still working and going to these events, like with literal, while going through chemotherapy, and wonders if he's like a huge piece of shit?
I wish he would. I don't know. That's quite the connection. But yeah, I mean, he's like, he does make the rest of us look like bitches because he's like, yeah, he's fighting for his life, guys. He's actually fucking every day fighting for his life, and the treatment for it is literal poison being washed through his body. Like, he's a badass. There's just not really any other way to splice it.
Yeah.
Yep. So he's going to be there. That's exciting. So what was it? You, Total Biscuit, Rotterdam. Did you say Todd?
No, I think Nathanius.
Nathanius,
I'm pretty sure
okay.
it's Nathanius. I think Apollo, but I don't have the list in front of me. They announced it a while ago.
Okay. Yeah, so it's going to be an exciting tournament. I linked the bracket. I'm not going to show the bracket on the screen. I linked it in both Steven's chat and mine. I'll link it in mine one more time, guys. And let's just go ahead and pull that bad boy up. I linked it for you, Jeff and Steven.
Mm-hmm.
And let's take a look at who we have. We have Showtime and Guru, Happy versus Lobo, Nurchio versus Sort of, Euthermal, Daishi.
Wait, there's a bracket already?
Yeah.
What?
Oh, fuck. Am I
What
looking
are
at
you
the wrong
doing?
bracket? Oh, I'm an idiot. I'm so sorry.
Oh yeah, and the winners and the finalists and everything have already been announced too, right? Yeah, I saw this.
Okay, never mind. Guys, you know, this has been, let me tell you what,
Hey,
this has been an amazing
hang
show
on.
so far.
It has been good. It's been 2 hours, though, so let's wrap it up. But let me... DreamHack Austin is an open bracket tournament where they announce the players that are participating in it. That can be found on Reddit. It was also tweeted out by DreamHack's Twitter itself. It's really fun and exciting because it includes names like Noni, who we haven't seen compete in fucking forever. It's got such American hopefuls like Neeb and Puck, two people that like legitimately, and Bales actually, by the way, made it in there. There was a moment there where he wasn't going to go or something, but then he is now. He's also one of the best North American players. Another kind of interesting story. I mean, we have our usual Koreans, by the way, Polt, Hydra. I believe Violet's sick and in Korea. I think someone said that, but then I thought I saw his name in the list anyways. We've got Rifkin and Fear Dragon competing, by the way, so a bit of an underdog story there, perhaps. But what's really interesting is like in the entire tournament of like 100 players, something like that, something close to that. There's like 8 Terrans or 10. It's like really bad, and like 4 of those are notable. The rest are like Fear Dragon. Or Rifkin. No, Rifkin plays Terran, I think it is. So it's got your mix. It's very much so American heavy, but it's obviously got it's got a lot more Europeans than I thought would come, by the way, which is cool because it's a true open bracket. It's going to be really fun to see who kind of comes out of that and doesn't. Destro did announce on Twitter that he will not be able to make it. So heavy hearts there. I know Destiny was disappointed about that, but there are otherwise a lot of really big American hopefuls. I know Suppy is going to play in it. We haven't seen
shit.
Suppy in a while. He's been busy trying to become a doctor.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
So, Steven, you're a week out. Have you decided if you're going to go?
Oh, this is in Austin?
Yep.
Probably not if I haven't decided at this point. I don't like events, man. I just like to stay home and play video games.
But, Steven, if you hadn't gone to an event, I mean, late game never would have happened.
Oh, well, that's
Right?
not a good argument. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, I don't know. I'm going to Florida in a couple weeks for my little sister's graduation. So,
Oh shit.
Nice.
yeah.
Well, damn.
Don't ask it, Lycan. Don't ask it. I know what you want to say and stuff.
How old is
don't.
she?
No, Steven, don't.
I wasn't gonna
What's he
say
gonna ask?
anything.
What
I
were you
was
gonna say?
literally
You're
not
like
gonna say
dangling a
anything.
beer in front of an alcoholic. Like it's just not even funny.
Jesus Christ. All right. Guys, that was a
Couple things though, I do want to say. Yeah, we had
Yeah.
a great show.
Yeah.
You can say it in a second.
Every
Yeah.
time Lycan tries to end the show, Jeff, you just drag it on so
I just
much.
cut in,
Holy
I know, I
shit.
cut in.
Okay. All right. Oh, let's do it.
I like that we announced Nathanius to be on the show. Let's try to get that guy on here. Let's see if we can restore his passion. I think he'd have a really good opinion here. And we should bring back some analysis on StarCraft 2 matches. Like, what you should do is look up a match from from one thing or another. Let us know about it, not the day of, because Steve and I both will probably lazy out of that one. But give us a couple of days, and at least I will look at it, and we should talk about it. It'd be fun.
I agree. I think that's an awesome idea, Jeff. And
Yeah,
I saw you. I saw the thread, people talking about that. You know, guys, we used to do the 4-hour shows where we do 2 hours of analysis,
Oh, God.
2 hours of drama. You know, we could fit it all in. And it's just kind of been, we sacrificed that time to give you a more concise show, talk about what we felt was the most important topics. And, sometimes that meant we didn't talk about StarCraft as much as the community around esports, So, but yeah, no, I agree. I think if we do it that way, and if I'm diligent and I get it to you guys in time, that'll be a good segment. So thank you for the suggestion, Jeff.
Also, shout out Lycan. It finally happened. I realized we are the last StarCraft 2 talk show, by the way. So at least by Highlander rules, that means you are the king of the universe.
Did I tell you about that?
No.
So when and I say this, peace and love to Desra and all that, but the day Desra announced his show was done, I changed my Twitter picture to Highlander because there can only
Did
be
you
one.
actually?
There can only be
really?
one.
We have the same minds. That's amazing. I did not actually know that or think that at all.
The quickening.
Same mind.
Yeah, I still didn't end up a better host.
Here we
so
are with the princes of the universe. It was a great show.
It was
Terrible movies. Well, people like the movies. I didn't like them. The show was good though.
I actually never watched the show. I've seen the movies. But you ever play World of Warcraft?
No, but I've cut a man's head off with a sword. Why do you ask?
Okay, well, there's a video called World of Roguecraft, and it used to be about rogues being OP and all that stuff. It was a really good video, but the intro they had to it was actually really badass. It was the intro that Sean Connery does, talking about the time of the Gathering, until Battle of the Last, and then it breaks into the Queen song, Heroes of the Universe. It was really awesome. And then it's no longer on YouTube, like the video is, but that intro is fucking gone because they DMCA'd it, so they had to mute it. It sucks.
Steven, can you link me your video that has 1 million views? I'd like to see that shit. It's crazy.
Hold on.
All right.
Sorry, keep talking.
No. I think we should.
Also, you should bring back questions. I know that got kind of weird because they were like half trolly and stuff like that, and it was a little bit more work for you. But maybe questions from the chat or something, not necessarily this show, but at some show, we should do that. A little bit more
Day 9 had a program that people
Jesus.
could ask questions. What?
Huh?
What?
Day 9 had a program where, like, if you ask questions and you put a certain character at the end, it would process them for him so he could read them on the fly, and it didn't get muddled up with the rest of the shit in chat. But we don't have that much chat activity, so we might be able to just sift through them that way. So that's a good idea.
Yeah.
So with that said, I think we're gonna call it a night. Jeff, DreamHack next week. What else is on the horizon for you?
Thank you, Lycan. Steven, good show. And like I said, guys, earlier, I really do I actually come from a background of debate, so I actually enjoy arguments, and part of enjoying arguments is knowing that you're okay and coming away from it okay. So Steven and I are okay, but when there's that guy in the chat that's like, Jesus, I want to kill and control and I hate him and he's fat, it's like, well, I feel like you're an idiot and I want you banned. And then you get banned usually. Anyways, I digress. Yes, I'm going to DreamHack Austin, which is awesome. It's short notice for anyone, but if you ever get the chance to go to Austin, fucking go. It's amazing.
6th Street,
Austin and
baby.
Dallas are both really cool cities, I think. Because there's been events in Austin before, and I've been down there, and they're really cool.
Austin is amazing. It's one of my favorite cities to go to. So I'll be doing that, and it's not announced yet, but I may or may not be taking an international flight the week after to go do some StarCraft 2 work and commentary for some event, the only one that's going on at that time.
Oh, you mean that? Oh,
That thing.
okay, yeah.
Nobody announces talent except for the 3 days beforehand anymore, and it's like, what are you doing, Jeff? Well, my stream's not going to be on for these days. Why? So, anyways, it's gonna be awesome. I'm going to a Warhammer tournament this weekend. So if you follow me on Twitter, EG In Control, or my Instagram, In Control TV, I will put pictures of my little toy action figure models shooting other ones with my mind bullets. It's gonna be fun, and that's about it. I've been doing a lot of split streaming. Do Starcraft every day, and then some other game usually. I'm gonna probably stream a little bit of CS:GO after this. It was gonna be Jedi Knights Outcast, but it takes so much to set that up, and it's so fucking janky. I don't feel like I have the energy to do that right now, so I'm just gonna play some CS:GO. And I want to open up $10 cases. My God.
Damn.
$10 cases.
Yeah, they just came out with Chroma 3, and when new cases come out, they're fucking incredibly expensive. But if you get lucky and land like that red, it's actually worth like $500 or $1,000 or something like that. So it's kind of crazy. It's the gambler paradise right now, like that Bone Thugs and Harmony song.
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming on. Excellent discussion. I do like the debater in you when it comes out. Destiny, what's going on with you, man?
I've been playing Rust and Dark Souls 3 pretty much exclusively, those two games. So I don't know what I'll be playing tonight. Maybe some Rust, maybe some Dark Souls 3 next
Was
time.
that Rust thing friendly? I saw you tweeting with that guy back and forth about how the best Rust guy was like a hacker or something like that.
Oh no, there's a lot of fucking hacking in this game, and I'm like 99%
Is there
sure
actually hacking in Rust?
Well, because it's a Gary's mod game. Yeah, but like these people take it so seriously. Like when I play it, like it's just kind of like to to goof off and have friends. And then these people like, we're the best Rust players in the fucking world. It's like, dog, if you were like that good at FPS, go play fucking Call of Duty or CS:GO or something.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Like, but yeah, I don't know. Fuck that shit.
That's funny.
Yeah, Rust is a pretty fun game. It's a little sucky that it wipes every week. If you're
You can go to non-wipe servers, so don't wipe every week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll try that. I don't know. I had a lot of fun playing it though. I went off and built my own base, and oh man, I come home. I had no idea. I could rant about that. I'll do that later. So yeah, thank you guys for coming on.
Finish the story real quick.
No. Every day I'd come home, like the first few days that I had the base, and it'd be destroyed, or someone would have blown a wall apart, something like that, and I'd be really pissed. And then I'd go out to hunt, and you find like 5 rocks in a row, right? And you just farmed 3,000 wood, you got 5 rocks, you have a ton of ore and all kinds of cool shit, and you're walking back, and then some fuck comes out of nowhere, and you're just like, I have everything. I have the coolest weapons because I have built an awesome base over yonder, and I'm going to kill you and your rock fucking hatchet because I have no goddamn life.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so.
I love that there's games like that where like it seems like the entire purpose of the game is to get people as mad as it's humanly possible.
That's how I used to feel when I played Hearthstone. Like when the Freeze Mage, when I used to play that, I used to feel that the other side of the screen, someone was really fucking pissed when they couldn't do anything for the entire game. So maybe that's how people feel when they snipe me on this. Yeah. Anyway, thank you guys for coming. Thank you all for watching. It was a great show. Are either of you streaming after this?
Yeah, I'm
I gotta
gonna
get something to eat, so you can host Jeff. Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, well, you guys can check out Jeff, and we'll see you not next week because we're going to DreamHack, but then we'll see you the week after. So we'll talk to you soon.
I'll see their liking.
See you there, buddy. Later, guys.
Later.